Futures trying to bounce here ever so slightly this morning on more downside pressure, unfortunately, on the back of what we saw yesterday. Heavy selling throughout the morning and the midday. We did get that late day recovery into the close, much of which has been given back already ahead of a key economic print. Coming up this morning at 8:30, we'll get May CPI, 0.5% expected on the headline number, 0.3 on the core number expected to the upside. That comes on the back of, remember last time around, 3.8 was the print back in April. That was the highest level since 2023 ahead of the Fed meeting coming up next week. We are in the quiet period, however, so we won't have to deal with opinions throughout the morning on this print when it does come at 8:30, but we'll, of course, bring that to you when it does come out live this morning. Adair's with me this morning. We get Oracle after the close tonight.
Yes, we do.
So, I mean, we're through most of the earnings, obviously, but Oracle going to be interesting here, I think.
Oh, and we know I think it'll be interesting. I'm sure you and I will have more to say about this later down in the morning show, so I'm not going to belabor the point too much yet. But I will have a lot of Oracle-themed infographics coming out all day on X at TTV Research ahead of the report. I want to talk about this post from President Trump on Truth Social, because I think this really led to what happened here in oil and the market. This came out at 7:03 a.m. Quote, Iran's military is a complete and total mess. Much of it, like their Navy and Air Force, doesn't even exist anymore. Hyphen. They have been completely defeated. Iran is all talk and no action. The bully of the Middle East is dead, all caps, 3 exclamation points. They've taken too long to negotiate a deal that would have been great for them. Now they will have to pay the price. 3 exclamation points. He posted another post later, but I think this pay the price language combined with an interview that he did with Fox News, which suggested that he was ready to strike at any moment. There are lots of signs of further escalation in the Middle East, and we know yesterday's Truth Social post did lead to a brief drop further in the market. So keep an eye on Truth today. Also keep an eye on SMCI. We know that one got hit pretty hard here, trying to raise some money to the tune of $7 billion. Oracle after the bell. We had Chewy and Cracker Barrel report. It's another big one.
Let's see. I mean, is this more just negotiating tactics and him, throwing out the hard hammer approach first and then, being able to pull it back later? We'll have to see how this plays out. But yeah, I mean, just before we came on here at 8:30, I mean, Iran coming out saying, they're ready to strike again and they're preparing more strikes once again. So as you said, the back and forth continues. But as you're mentioning, here's USO right now. Big pop off of that this morning from 130.50 all the way to 134. We're not back to where we were going back to that 135.50 day a couple days ago. But heading in the wrong direction here, I think, ahead of, again, inflation coming up at 8:30 this morning. A lot of that inflation that's built into the system, or a lot of people talking about inflation that's built into the system coming on the back of these oil prices.
And we also have PPI coming through, some more inflation-related data on Thursday morning. I was looking at those estimates. I think I might have read those to you guys at one point or another. But the PPI year-over-year prints, core and non-core, are expected to be way hotter than what we had prior. So I would certainly keep an eye here on PPI. Then we get another inflation-adjacent print coming through on Friday at 10 a.m. with the University of Michigan consumer sentiment that does include the 1-year and 5-year inflation expectations. So smaller potatoes compared to what we get today and Thursday, but inflation absolutely without a doubt on watch.
And then Warsh gets the spotlight going into next week for the first time. We'll see what his narrative is like running the Fed. I mean, he's in a tough spot, let's be honest, with all this buildup. I mean, the numbers have been not only good, probably better than a lot of people have expected. Even if you look at the, the NFP print, we'll see what the CPI number is like. But going back to the last one, hotter than expected. But the market kind of shrugged that off and said, oh, well, let's keep going higher.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. And I think one thing as well with Warsh is going to be interesting is he is going to face some pressure, likely, potentially, from the administration. President Trump even last week saying, I'm not going to tell Kevin Warsh what to do at the October meeting, which implies he has plans for the October meeting because no one asked him about that. That being said, we also have Kevin Hassett, who is, of course, was a front runner at one point for the Fed chair position, also an economic advisor at the White House, and he's been really softening his tone lately. He said, well, the Fed's next move should be a cut, but they could hold rates for now, which is markedly different than what we've heard recently. We also have Permadove, Stephen Myron, he's off the Fed as well. And he's being replaced, of course, by Powell, who's back to being a governor. It's a very weird cycle. But the point is, now that you've got one Ultra Dove off the table and you've got a new Fed chair, I think it's going to be a really interesting meeting and minutes.
I wonder if it's going to be, how is this going to play out? We've never had to deal with this before where, a former Fed chair has become a governor.
Yeah.
Will, the media want Powell's opinion all the time, versus Warsh. We'll see. But anyways, again, quiet period in effect right now ahead of the Fed meeting coming up next week. So we won't hear from any of them until after that is over, which is good. AI downside a little bit here this morning. Worth noting, some of the semiconductors back under pressure. They led that bounce into the close yesterday, largely along with the rest of tech. We'll see if we can't find a little bit of footing here for NVIDIA and crew. Lots to come this morning, guys. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. A lot to get to today. Well, it's not looking very good. We're already down what are you going to say?
I'm just writing down short.
We're down 1.5%. What looks good today? Volatility's up. USO's up a little bit.
Thinking about oil, is it still in that same range? Like oil's not really doing anything.
You know what is doing something?
This is just an AI trade.
Silver and gold, man. Unfortunately, yeah, they're back on the radar, and for the wrong reasons. You got gold breaking, oh, come on, Wednesday chart. You got gold breaking down under the 200 period. That's a bit of a continuation. You got SLV losing the 200 period moving average. That's a trend break. That's on the radar for the first time today. Like every day, it's like, crypto short. Well, silver as well. And there's no question about it. Like, we're just in a different scenario. Like you heard Brendan talk about the market shrugging things off. We're not shrugging much off lately, except for some profit taking. You can point to whatever you want. You can point to valuations. You can point to SpaceX. You could point to the war ongoing. In a bull rally, it's just you find the excuse and then you come back in. That said, silver and gold have not been in a bull rally lately. Neither has Bitcoin. They sort of sit on the other end of the spectrum. We also get Oracle tonight after the bell. Good timing for them to come out right when everybody is feeling as timid as possible, or Oracle decides to come out. But there's nothing you can do about it. It's going to be maybe rough on them tonight.
Oracle's not coming out at the right time. But the thing is the numbers are going to be what the numbers are, right? I mean, we can't really control it. Just like we can't control what's going to happen with SpaceX on Friday. But I mean, I was mentioning over the last 2 or 3 weeks to, probably time to start to think about selling heading into this event. We've seen it so many times that there's only so much liquidity that there is out there. And now you're trying to raise trillions and trillions of dollars, it's apparently, to get into SpaceX. And then we have OpenAI after that. And then we have Anthropic after that. And who knows the order of the last two. But at the end of the day, it's too much money. It's too much supply coming into the market. Like you can only, and then you need money being raised from Meta, from SMCI today, from Google. You didn't get a great response from Apple. Here's from their WDC. Okay, so we're basically red on the year now. This is the year line right now. This is January 30th, December 30th, right there. We've broken now below for gold. So, which was a really super hot asset last year, now starting to hit to the downside there. I mean, like Neil said, we've been sort of going down, but that's the final break, man. We broke through the 200 period moving average. Now we're starting to go lower. I think you can, again, depending on your portfolio, there's no dividends associated with gold. So, you got to really think that there's going to be some capital appreciation. And it doesn't seem to be that safe haven. When you can get 4% in cash, gold really right now not being treated, normally you get a downturn in the market and gold, can get to the other side of it. Not today. Yeah, and then Donald Trump, I don't know if we're going to be waiting for some more tweets to come out or what, but I mean, Brendan mentioned USO not getting back to that 135, 136 area. Yeah, but it's just so choppy right here, right now. I'm not even sure oil is, did I say gold or oil? Oil is not really the big shiny thing in the room anymore, right? I mean, it's sure it's going to pop and drop with different news stories that start to come through, and we'll pay attention to that, and we'll wait for volume spikes. Like this is one yesterday when Trump was speaking again in the midday. He's all that seems to matter. There's many things that are coming in and out of the White House right now, and out of Iran and different news sources. But today it seems like we're starting to get a little ramped up. I mean, that was a pretty good move here right at 7 a.m. on that tweet again, and now, or the truth, and now we'll wait to see if we can hold through VWAP. Doesn't look like we're getting settled anytime soon over there in the Middle East, and that's too bad because there was obviously some big time hope over the last little while. President Trump himself said just a couple weeks ago that it was days away, and then he said it on the weekend possibly as well. Here's what Brendan and Dara were talking about. We are now a week away from Fed, and this is what it looks like now. But now it's looking like September is getting closer and closer to a rate hike. So that's not great. Some of these numbers have changed over the last couple of days, and you're about to get a CPI number, right? That's coming through. So by the time we come to December, we're definitely going to be in the one rate cut camp, it looks, or one rate hike camp, maybe two. So that's not great. I don't know if the market can hold. Right now, it's going to be a hold in 7 days unless something dramatic happens today. But yeah, the CPI number we're looking for, it's right there. It's on our watch list today. We're looking for 4.2 CPI year over year. Its prior was 3.8, so that's a little bit of a bump there. But apparently, we have a CPI listed for May, expected 0.5, so a little cooler CPI in May. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening here. Yeah, I mean, that's going to sort of wag the tail here today.
Here, I'll get this one out of the way.
Oh, is it weekdays?
Well, TrueLeave is joining the ranks. Well, it's
yeah, because it went up last week, didn't it? It went to the NASDAQ or something.
It's going to the New York today.
Oh, New York, okay.
Yeah, coming to the New York Stock Exchange today is TrueLeave. That was the reason last week why you saw MSOS up. I mean, you're not going to see. There's really nothing to see on TrueLeave. Like if you pull it up, I can confirm it should be in everybody's databases there. So it kind of looks like it looks like an IPO, but this isn't an IPO. It's moving from the OTC and coming into the New York. So that'll open up. It should open up right at 9:30. Like a normal stock would, and it'll be their first day. Whether or not there's any juice to this, you did see, like we said last week, there was a bit of a spike in MSOS, which I guess they faded this thing. That's what they always do. A little bit of a spike, and then they faded it back in. But, there's crazier places to be. In a world where we've seen it since the PDT rule, not everybody immediately complied, but since it's essentially gone, you've seen a lot of small cappers and more runners. So I think that does put TrueLeave at least on the radar off the open. Like if you start to see some squeeze, it's the kind of thing you might want to join. I've already seen a bunch of small cappers thrown out in the chat, and lots of our viewers, Tissue was in there. I know Mike Peter Ryder already looking at a wealth of small cap names that are just running and gappers, and they have more continuation than normal. So I wouldn't put it past TrueLeave to do a little something. Do I want to invest in the cannabis space? Probably not. No. But can it do a little something today? Yeah, it's not a traditional IPO. This is not the same kind of event, but it does give you a little bit of juice in something that isn't tech related if you're watching at 9:30.
Look, I mean, Heart to Heart Media, we want to keep on. I just reloaded our little chat screen there, so I have to show this one for now. But thank you for all the insight and the hard work. Well, thank you for being here. We do have, a great community, and we're going to keep on looking at the chat all day. We're going to be watching out for TikTok chats as well. So welcome back to anybody on TikTok today. We're live every single day at 8 a.m. And we're going to go over, Neil and I will put on a bunch of trades as the market opens up. We got some ideas floating through. We've got each put out notes on Twitter. So we got the sticky note ready to go. I'm looking at obviously the short in the crypto space. And then, Apple today, unfortunately, it's broke. Oh man, it's getting worse, I think here. It's broke. Oh, there's a little bit of a pop in the market. Okay. So when I looked at it, we were around 290. Now you're around 289 there. Looks like it's trying to battle back right now, which is pretty nice. But yeah, Apple yesterday was this. And we had the short yesterday. So we're going to try to run the same sort of algorithm back on the short again. And it was just yesterday breaking through 300. So we waited for that to happen. Once it did, we reversed into, was this? No, I think we just went straight short on this one. We didn't reverse it. I think it was Google that we reversed. But Uno reverse card. Uno's a pretty good game.
I love Uno.
Yeah, so
underrated.
Yeah, very underrated. Gia got Billie Eilish Uno edition cards, so that's really fun. They have everything.
What don't they have?
They have there's like trading cards, sports Uno cards. They're just additions that you can add on into your pack. But anyways, there goes Apple breaking through $300 right there. Makes a bottom yesterday at 288 before bouncing a little bit. So I'm going to try to see if there's some support down here at 288. That should be interesting, and see if we can sort of hold. That was a sort of capitulated bottom, but not really with too much volume yesterday. So that's the worry spot. I wish to make it a capitulated bottom, there should have been more volume down there. There was, if we see, there was a little bit of volume there at the bottom. So that was the biggest candle of the day, despite the opening and closing prints. Wow, look at that closing print yesterday. Wow, 10 million shares on close yesterday for Apple. Wow, that's insane. And it did shoot it up. So it was a buy imbalance there of of a lot of shares on Apple there at the end of the day. So that's a pretty big one there. But I'm looking short still initially on all these plays. So we'll have to wait to see. There's our 300 marker right there. I don't think we're going to get up 10 bucks. I wrote down Apple short 292. We'll see if that comes into play. Just a little marker from yesterday in the afternoon. And then we'll see about 288 trying to hold the bid. And then, yeah, man, tonight, let's see what Oracle has to say. I mean, Oracle's had a huge run, man. That low was, what, 130, 140, something like that? Yeah, it looks like it's 140 for Oracle down there. All those shot up to 240, like almost went 240 straight line, you know, but so did all the names. You got the Marvells, the ARMs of the world, the AMDs, Intels, all that. Everyone had, it was actually the best 2 month span since the 50s or something like that, upside there in the NASDAQ for the month of April, May. So, you know, a big move there, and we'll wait to see. Now we're 14 minutes away from the CPI, and we'll see if that makes a difference. That's why it's kind of hard to write down some letters, some levels on these names.
Speaking of
levels,
levels,
DSY?
We are probably seconds away from this breaking its highs. DSY has a decent short float. I believe Adam just put it in the chat there. 1.25 million float. It is big tree cloud holdings.
It's only at 500% right here.
Yeah, only up 500 points, only with a 1.2 short float. No discernible news story that we can find, but hey, who needs a news story when there's no PD2T rule anymore, and you're gonna have squeezes to left, right, center, and all around on them. This probably has reverse split. I'm going to make the, and you have it on eSign.
No, but this is not.
Oh, it hasn't reverse split.
Like, I don't see, something has had to have happened here. This doesn't make any sense. So I think there probably was a split.
It's got to be something.
Yeah, because if you sort of zoom back out here, this is 160, 170, 180, 190. Oh, it's you hold Alt on eSign to go back and forth. You asked me yesterday. Yeah, I was fooling around with it, and when I realized what you were trying to do, yeah, it's Alt, so you can go in and out, and you can really zoom in here. But yeah, so this stock here, DSY, did you find a story on it? I mean, I just
couldn't find one.
Okay, I just saw it in the chat, but a 1.25 million share float already done. How many shares here? DSY, oh gosh, already done 29 million shares on the day, and it is 1.25 on the float. So you're talking about turning it over 20 times already. And yeah, nothing but love for these kind of names. And as you'd already mentioned, man, shout out to the PDT rule coming into play. Again, Sharif not here this AM, but I've been told he's coming back for the midday show. So we're gonna wait to see what winds up happening with some of these floaters. And Mike DeRider, what's up, Mike? Hope you're doing well in the chat. He had mentioned 5 names already that he had saw, and there's probably more than that at this point, over that 100% marker on the day already to the upside. You know, I think you can almost get creative and put together like a watch list, like, okay, Chinese name, low float, something with AI, something with cloud. Is there? I don't even know what this big tree. This is cloud. It's a big tree cloud. I don't know if
the problem is when there's no news catalyst, you're really just looking for those parameters plus volume.
Right, but there is no news catalyst in this thing.
Yeah, but if you just get, I think at this point,
you just want to go long one of them and hit. You know, if you go long 10 of them and one of them hits.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, the second there's a volume spike, right? Like, so it was at $2, right? Volume spike in here, it's breaking 3. So I'm sure you can find a couple of other ones where that wasn't the case, where, you know, like that initial break was no good. But this one goes like 3x. So if you just sort of enter, there might be a little something to this in the pre-market. I'm sure a lot of you guys are looking at it. Sorry, I'm chuckling because I just read in the chat that these guys have 20 employees. Well, I mean, it's a 1.2 million.
How come so many?
It's a 1.2 million flow. We've seen crazier things.
Don't they have AI? Why do they have so many employees?
Yeah, we've seen crazier than that. Sometimes
we have
you'll
less
see
than
like
20 over here.
Storefront 4 people. Look, that's just a reality. And sometimes what'll also happen is, I'm not going to say it's always the case. It could be that it just gets picked up on social media and it's got that small float, and then there's your juice. So you don't want to get caught, you know, the last one without a chair when the music stops. But certainly getting into these early does make a lot of sense. And let us know what else we got going on.
Well, I mean, no better of a day we have. Yeah, we're supposed to have Luis Barbado coming through today.
Luis.
So if Luis is here this week, we'll be talking about some small. Oh, he's traveling. Okay, it was in the calendar, but we'll see. If he shows up, he shows up. I double-checked with the calendar. It's in there, but maybe it's
there,
not
yeah.
today. It doesn't matter, Luis or not. I mean, we're going to be talking about everything here today as we get going. So I don't think it's overly healthy for the markets to find a bunch of names going on like this, but it's fun to trade. You know, you guys, our viewers here, know the risks associated with some of these plays. Lost money, made money, had fun in the meantime trading them, lost a bit of hair doing it as well. Back over to Joe right now. It's calls, it's puts, it's options minute with Joe.
Good morning, everyone. Let's take a look at some of the options activity in yesterday's session. We're going to kick things off with the fear index here, guys. The VIX, a lot of activity here, guys, at that $32 marker on the put side. Now, I mean, we're still a ways away from that specific level. $21, $22 is where we're currently trading on the VIX index, but open interest at 134,000. If you go through some of the expiration cycles, you're going to see a substantial amount of concentration through some of these strike prices. So we're going to go through those momentarily. Now, as for the strike price, guys, once again, 32,000, but this is going to be expiring on the 16th, guys, and we're sitting on a $16 spread, which I found somewhat interesting. We're going to get into the contract specifics momentarily, but what I want us to focus on is this delta. We're out of the money here, guys, $18, nothing substantial. As you get closer to in the money, obviously, you're going to see an increase within that Greek metric. Now, as for your gamma exposure, relatively high for such a far out of the money contract, $11. That's only $7 off of your delta, and then obviously you're at the money IV. When you have strong moves to the downside, you're going to see an increase in implied volatility, and that's why we're sitting on 105% here in the VIX. Now, I want us to focus on the contract specifics here, guys. What we had here is essentially an aggressive selling shortly after the open for an hour or so, but look at the decay within the specific contract itself. So you go from $21 to $95. That's a nice return, but as the market slowly cooled down and you had that nice rally up, you had the ability to breach the volume weighted average price and multiple underlying assets. Look what happens. So when you have those strong moves out of the gate, you have to, it's like the small cap momentum plays, you have to be prepared to get out of your positions. Why? Because look what happened. It wasn't a full-blown recovery in the day, but you end up losing 85% of the value of that specific put contract. Now, moving forward, I always say it's a little bit more difficult to anticipate the implied volatility increases, and puts are typically the way that you would want to go when you are trading the VIX. But what I do want us to focus on here, guys, is this $25 strike price on the VIX with open interest sitting around 271,000 contracts. Volume extremely light at 258, which I found surprising, but that means people are holding these positions for a potential move into $25, or they're just looking to gain some form of extrinsic value. Now, 271 once again, but $25 is the level that you want to be keeping an eye on here in the VIX. Now, as for the expiration cycle, it's going to be the same as our previous put contract on the 16th. $15 spread, that's the same as what we've seen on the put contract as well. Now, our delta sitting on that $14 metric, it's slightly out of the money, but from a name that's approximately $8 higher, you're sitting on an $18 delta compared to what we have here in this call contract at a $14 delta. And you can see that the gamma exposure significantly more cool, guys. So not too bad of a look, and you don't have to worry too much about the rate of change. Maybe a little bit of confusing. We'll get into more of that during the midday, and your at the money IV is going to be the same as the put contract, same as the underlying asset. Now, as for this specific contract, guys, right out of the gate, we're going from 9:30 in the morning to just a little bit before the close. You get 398%. So that's a big time return. Once again, you'd have to be in those contracts the night before. So keep an eye on if you are looking to anticipate some form of increase in implied volatility, you need to be in before the close on the previous session to obtain that form of gain. Moving forward, let's take a look at AMD. Almost touching bear market territory, guys. down 19+% off of the high, and a strong sell day yesterday, around $60, $50 or $60, the underlying actually fell. So let's see where there's going to be a potential bottom, and with that being said, $450 is what we're going to be identifying as our largest amount of open interest and volume concentration. This is going to be expiring on the 12th. Now, our bid in the ask sitting around $15. Open interest, once again, 5,190 contracts, still open at that specific level. Now, as for the volume, 8,600 contracts still there, guys. Now, Delta, $25, and your gamma exposure, extremely light. Delta exposure relatively high considering still out of the money contract, and then your at the money IV sitting around 89.9%. Now, as for this, I mean, if we're looking at small cap names, I know they're in vogue right now, they're in play, but you can get this type of price action and returns within some of these contracts. Once again, you have to be in the night before, but this specific put contract gives you a staggering 997% return out of the gate yesterday, and then at the peak if you were to catch the bottom of AMD in itself. But there's some options activity. We took a look at the VIX and see where we can gauge that. I do believe that it's easier to trade the put side of the VIX. You're not anticipating increases in volatility. You're just playing the volatility decay, which we typically talk about on a day-to-day basis. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Oh boy, 4 minutes until CPI. Thanks a lot. And it's funny because yesterday we were sort of talking there, all of us, and it was like we could. Okay, good. Luis is here. Good.
Back
there
in the fight.
Is. I saw that. I saw him in the chat there. And I was going to mention that he's coming back. We do have CPI at 8:30. Then we'll follow with Luis. And it's great to have Luis back. And as we mentioned,
good timing.
With all these names popping off, so get some questions if you have any in the chat. I'm sure there's some topics that they're going to be covering here today. But I wanted just to show you about AMD because we were talking yesterday, and it was just kind of like it is. You know, if you got stuck up here or you're long or, you know, you're in this area, fine. This is only a week, 2 weeks, right? And we're just trying to break down a little bit now. Considering how negative the market's been the last couple of days and what exactly has been happening, you could do this for any chart, any stock right now. You just have to sort of zoom back out and say like, okay, we've been on this sort of epic run, you know, in the market, that there is going to be some kind of pullback. Like, this is just pullback to May 22nd. Like, it's not, sure, you're giving up unrealized gains, you know, holding through there and looking back at your portfolio, you might have said like, oh my God, like, I've lost 100 grand or something in unrealized because I didn't get out at the top. But you could also have said the same thing like right here. You maybe could have said the same thing, not really right here, there's no dip, but you know, what if you had, you know, 161 and it went to 260 and you were thinking, oh my God, that's like quite a nice run from October to February there. How come I'm not taking out $100 profit? And then when it drops right back to 180, then you're questioning life. And then all of a sudden this starts to happen and you're like, wow, man, I'm so glad I didn't sell, you know, especially at that last peak, because then it started to run right off of that again. So like there's certain things that we can't really lose sleep over. Obviously, if you're highly levered into these names, it does suck to go from 540 down to 440. And you know, there's probably, seems like there's more pain coming today. But at the end of the day, sometimes you got to plug your nose and bear it because it's part of the market. And I sort of said tongue in cheek the other day, if you're in the stock market and you didn't realize it could go down, then it's probably the wrong market for you because there is a up and down aspect to everything. Palantir just broke 130. You know, I know there was...
The VIX is only at 22.
Yeah, and the VIX is not... Well, that's...
It's barely even up.
That's pretty high considering it's not that it's unbelievably high, but it was at 13, 14.
Yeah, we were just in the...
So, you know, it's somewhat elevated. Yeah, you want to...
In the last year...
There's been, yeah, a few spikes for sure.
In the last year, almost every time that it's gone past, like it's gotten to this point, it's almost always gotten to that 25 to 30 range, right? Like if it breaks 20 and then holds 20, breaks 20, holds 20, we see 29. Breaks 20, holds 20, you see 27. Like it more or less, once we get that second push through like the low 20s, you're usually good to go. Another one here, Athlete of the Year. Thanks for
trying, I guess. You know, athletes, they miss some R's in their words. But yeah, so I was going to say, you're welcome. I mean, I'm in the same boat, man. I'm trying to make myself feel better, and I'm glad it's good for you guys as well. But you know what makes me feel better? J&J. We've been sort of pounding the table on J&J for a little bit there. Now that's starting to bump up 0.5%. All right, man. 30 seconds to go. Andre does not need to tell me to throw it back because we're getting ready to rock and roll. Right now, it's CPI, it's Brendan, and it's Adara.
All right, well, I'll get you set here for what's to come in a couple seconds. If you remember, again, or just joining, this 3.8 print that came last time was the highest since 2023. So we are expecting another uptick from that. The consensus at 4 on a monthly basis, 0.4% was last time around. We're looking for 0.3 this time. 2.9 is the consensus on the core number. Again, this is all for May. So coming up here in about 5 seconds, we'll start to get some of these populating, but could be what moves the market today. So strap in here as we get the latest round of inflation data. 0.2, so a little bit better on the month-over-month number. So 0.2 for the headline number versus 0.3 expected. 2.9 on the core versus 2.9, in line with expectations. Inflation overall, the headline number 4.2% versus 4 expectation.
This is not bad. This is a little bit less scary than I think I thought. I'm sure a lot of people out here at home and analysts thought. We've got a slightly cooler core CPI month over month, and that's even further. Like, it was cooler than we were expecting, but it was also markedly cooler than the prior print. It was 0.4%. We were looking for 0.3%. We actually get 0.2%. So that's not bad at all. I will say, I think if you got cooler than expected for some of these year-over-year numbers, that might have been a little bit more fun for the market. The other thing I will say as well is we are still expecting very hot PPI tomorrow, so this might not necessarily change that.
Yeah, a couple people in the chat already mentioning this. Are these rosier than expected?
Yeah.
Possibly. I mean, Sharif and I have been going back and forth on that theory for the past couple of months here, but I mean, the last one, let's be honest, that one came out, I think, shocked everyone, so I don't think they were touching that at all. But again, if you're just joining, 4.2%. The headline number there versus 4%. Yeah, we have a 4 handle on inflation once again, so that's not great in itself. Better than expected on the month over month though, 0.2 versus 0.3, guys.
So far the market likes it. I mean, it doesn't really push the needle one way or the other, but not bad, I suppose, is being taken as good, right? Like it's not hot overall, and you get that one kernel of the month over month being a little bit light. So yeah, you can paint that as potentially solid, but it doesn't necessarily change some of the narrative around, right? Like you still got that 4 point in there just because the expectations were going to be a little bit hot. Yeah, I don't think this is one to necessarily fall for it. But yeah, ultimately not bad. Not bad. You just didn't want it to come hot again. I'm not sure the market would have handled that very well at all. We can just sort of get back to hoping for earnings and worrying about SpaceX and the like, and then CPI isn't going to be the reason today. At least you can put it into that bucket for now. I wouldn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, I even had some I mean, I was looking at the Benzinga platform here, and it was 2.9 versus 2.9. Like, some of the expectations, 4.2 versus 4.2. Brendan said a little bit hotter than the 4 that was written on that screen. But, you know, you're not really doing too much. We could check out right here to see if the dollar had spiked at all, and you can see right now it does have a move down, then right back up. This is on a 1-minute chart here for the USD. So this is the DXY, of course, the dollar index. Spiked down into 99 and change, trying to make it back to the upside again right here. We can check out some of the government bonds or whatever, potentially moving around. This is the iShares Treasury. Okay, well, that's not doing anything, so we have to worry about that. What about the TLT today? See if that's doing much. Yeah, so there's not, you know, for right now, that SG over here is the wrong symbol. But there it is, the TLT kind of holding out. So yeah, the dollar's stable right now, and, you know, that's not going to really spike the market too much. We just saw a little bit of an up and down move, I thought, there in the NASDAQ. No, now we're continuing.
Now we're starting to
go. So now we're starting to go higher here. Maybe there was another... all right, well, I was going to say maybe there was another word here somewhere, but the market still going higher right now. That seems to be a little strange. I don't know, because there still is that rate cut. I mean, the dollar's not really moving on this. I'm just looking at that as well. There still is that rate cut potential. We said 2% in 7 days. I don't think that's really going to change based on anything right here. But the ES trying to battle back right now. You know what else is going here?
Bitcoin.
Yeah, it looks like IBIT right here with BTC starting to finally fly a little bit. 61.2 and change. Bitcoin right now is starting to get a little bit of a bid. I don't know exactly why that is, but there it is right here. It's a nice little spike up on BTC proper. Here it is, 61.1 up to 61.8. I actually have written down here as an idea to short crypto. So this move higher is getting me right into the level that I had thought about, 35 bucks right there for IBIT. So that was the level that I had written down. We'll get it all figured out where it's going. But yeah, nice little rebound back in BTC. We've seen it, Neil, so many times. These numbers go up and then they just come right back down as the market digests and gets back to, you know, its selling ways. Maybe this is something, but wow.
I'm never chasing these E3.
Something has happened because
gold and silver are both going as well.
It's not just,
it's all metals.
It's just, even AMD just went from 455, like it just shot up 15 bucks right there. 460 to 472, that's $15 if you're doing bad math. That's $12 right there back.
Look at Micron. Micron just went 50.
So maybe is it back risk on right now? I almost feel like there must be some sort of a headline about one of these names, but there it goes, man. AMD upside, SNDK. Like we're looking on risk on right now assets. You just saw Micron to the upside. Here's SNDK going back. I mean, SNDK 80 bucks, 90.
Right.
Again, you know,
the
very bottom there, but let's call the $50 move to the high side right now. But look what the market's doing. So there it goes, man. Some exuberance off, I guess, off that number, and now heading right back in. And someone just said it's weeks like this that create more Uber and Lyft drivers. Let's see if that does anything to Uber stock. I mean, right now,
nothing's helping that stock.
Uber stock is near the low part right now. There are bananas here.
Oh,
that's bananas.
At some point, see, that's the thing. We're sitting there looking at charts, don't even notice Randy creeping up.
The other day, you weren't here on Monday.
There's
a banana that was left back there. I think it must have been Joe's or something. I didn't really realize it. And Brendan's like, get that banana off the screen. Like the banana was just chilling out back there the whole time. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even realize we had those bananas there again. But yeah, your bananas if you think that this market's going to hold this bid, I think, because you know, there's been so much depreciation in some of these assets, but it's a nice move higher. We'll still see if Tesla can get going again. Through 400 would be real nice, you know, as we wait for the big day. That's Friday, right? I mean, SpaceX IPO. We're going to be sitting here trading that, and it should be a fun one on that day. That is for sure. It's 8:36 right now. We do have Luis. Whenever Andre's ready, I guess we can call him through. But there's the number right there. Consumer prices rose 4.2% annually in May, the highest in 3 years. So, yeah, that's not great. But hey, I think we're in a rate raise cycle right now.
Until proven otherwise.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any reason to fear that because the market's sort of pricing that in. We showed you guys, out to December, there's a chance for 2 rate hikes.
And that's just how it is.
Yeah, so
until something changes, that's the world we're living in. Rocket Lab just went green, so
all right,
we'll see how far this actually takes us, but this one's blasting off. We got some small caps to talk about because Luis is in the building. Good timing, PDT rule gone, so I know the small cappers are running.
It's worth noting both the 10-year and 30-year back downside currently. We did get an uptick on the initial number, but back downside right now along with the dollar as well, coming off a little bit on the back of that CPI number. Again, I mean, optimism coming in the sense that could be a lot worse, was a lot worse just going back a month ago. So, you know, maybe it's just one of those things, but like I was saying, not a good thing to have a 4 handle back on inflation ever. I don't think anyone wants that.
No, and I was actually seeing, I think the worst case scenario for one of the year-over-year prints for PPI tomorrow, I saw a 6 handle. So this could get a lot worse or a lot better, depending on what we get compared to estimates for tomorrow for PPI. That's truly what I think.
Yeah.
And it'll also be interesting with these numbers being what they are. And I'm sure the survey is done in advance, but I'm very curious to see what that University of Michigan consumer sentiment print comes out at, because this is continuing to post all-time record lows for the metric. So that'll be interesting to see.
And it's a future look down the road kind of thing. I mean, PPI never been a huge market mover, but it's one of those things that if CPI, if inflation overall is moving in the wrong direction, you know, you're going to expect PPI to do so as well. He's been waiting patiently. Let's bring him in. I don't know, Luis, you don't look like you're in the same environment. Are you still actually out on vacation, being that dedicated, joining us from the road?
No. I'm back in Barcelona.
Okay, good.
Home, hidden by the jet lag a little bit, so I didn't join the office today. I'll let the guys alone.
Nice. We saw that all over social media. You were in Chicago. You're all over the U.S. How was your trip?
It was good. I have my 2 daughters studying there for 1 year in Michigan and in Ohio, so I went there to visit the families and see the environment that they were learning there for this year.
Fantastic. Well, you're coming back to craziness, as always. It's been a wild week for short caps. I mean, these two guys, Joe and Sharif on the midday yesterday, were just, you couldn't look away for more than a couple of seconds without missing some sort of action. So I know you've just kind of landed, getting your feet back under you and getting ready to go here for small cap world. But what have some of your guys maybe been looking at this week? It's been nonstop.
Yeah, it's been very crazy. I was received by a crazy move on INHD. This is stock that move up over 2,000%. Look at that, from $1 or even less than $1 to $64 after market. I don't know why. It might be the PDT rule, but we don't know yet. But for sure, that it looks like mainly Chinese and Hong Kong companies are using this new rule to create some crazy environment. We have seen this INHD and the SEC finally took part of it, and it was a T12 halt, so it's going to be halted for a long period now. I don't know how the SEC is going to handle this, because we have a lot of stocks moving 1,000%, 2,000%, 500% up in a couple of days. So I think they will have to change some measures of halts and fraudulent and manipulative movements, because this is not normal. I think it's not good for the market either. So I think they will have to take part on this.
Yeah, a lot of these, teeny tiny little companies as well. I mean, this one we were looking at this morning, DSY, I was just looking, I mean, 7-8 million on the market cap for this, never mind, the float. Speaking of 500+%, here's another one.
Yeah, I mean, if you check for the last 3, 4, 5 days, 95% of them are Hong Kong or Chinese. If you look, our scanner today is Hong Kong, is China, is Hong Kong, is Hong Kong, this is USA, and then we go back again to China, Hong Kong. So tiny float mixed with Chinese or Hong Kong companies, just avoid to short until this settle down. I don't think it's only because the PDT rule, but it's the first movement with the PDT rule that everyone was expecting. So I think in a week or a couple of weeks, everything will settle down and the movements, we will come back to the normal movements. So far, if you're a short seller in this environment, be very careful to not be in a blown up situation like INHD, for example. Or we have, I think it was PAVS yesterday. Let me see if I can put it here. Because it had a crazy movement as well. Hold on, I had this. There you go. We have a crazy movement yesterday, not only in the way up, but also in the way down. So be very careful also buying dips, because the environment is wild. Look at this. It went from $1 to $26 and all the way down to zero, almost zero. So if you buy a dip on the first halt or the first candle red, it's very tricky as well. So avoid front side, tight stops. Well, tight stops. Let's say small size and a little bit wider stop because of the volatility, but mainly be very careful with the size. And sometimes it's better to leave to trade another day than trying to make profit. Not always looking the opportunity, but also looking the risk involved in every trade.
One aspect that you and I have discussed about this in the past, and it's worth mentioning, I think, specifically with these, is the availability to actually borrow shares to, take advantage of that move back downside. If we're talking about stocks with 1, 2, maybe even below 1 million share floats, that cost of borrow starts creeping higher and higher and higher. How have you found that so far?
Yeah, absolutely. The lower the float and the higher the volatility up, the more difficult it's to get short locates or easy to borrow. It is true that sometimes, like on ANHD the other day, we have borrows for a decent price. We paid like $7 per 100 shares. So considering the volatility that it had, it was very, very cheap to borrow. And then what happened? If it's very cheap to borrow, we will have a lot of shorts getting in the position and getting stuck on the short side when it starts to move up. But usually with higher volatility and lower float, because the broker don't have these companies available to borrow, so it's more difficult to short, which is kind of a good news sometimes, you know, to avoid the risk of going too big on the short side front.
If we're looking at today, let's zoom in a little bit, talk a little bit about today. Is that DSY, first of all, on your radar at all?
Not at all, because it's very, very expensive to borrow. We tried to make a couple of longs on the retracement, on the first retracement, but now I think it's already overextended and has lost VWAP a little bit. There you see. So for us, we took a couple of longs here on the VWAP rejections here, and now since we cannot short, we will avoid this ticker. If I will have shorts, I'm sure we'll short it against $8.50 or $9 with a tight stop around the $10 round number. So, but it's not on our radar because of the short locates. In this environment, I would say look for the stocks that has been already up and they are already destroyed. Let's say, for example, CIIT. There you go. This stock is the kind of stock that in very wide environment, you look with better winning ratio and better high risk reward, sorry. So the stock has gone already up from $1 to $8, and once it's destroyed and below VWAP, you are more cautious looking for short here around $5, $4, and then if we see another push to $3.50, $4, we will short it again. It is better, even though it looks that it has already gone down a lot. Look, it can go to $1 again. So it's from $3 to $1. It's a lot of range yet. So it is more safe than looking for shorts in a stock that are yet in play. We are waiting for this shift of volume from one stock that is hot to the other, and then the one which is losing volume is going to go down. You know, so it's very important to identify what stocks are hot within every minute to try to short the one that are not in play with a lot of volume.
If we want to avoid volatility, I mean, it's a pure volatility concept from the perspective of, you know, if I was just watching this DSY, I mean, it's moving 80 cents to $1 basically every tick or every other tick as prints start coming off. You know, you're talking about potentially a 40, 50, 60 cent stop on something you were just showing versus, you know, $4 or $5 potentially on DSY. So obviously a wide difference. If someone is, and let's be honest, there's going to be a lot of people who want to be involved with something like a DSY today. Talk a little bit about that sizing and how you shift gears mentally, saying, okay, if I'm used to a 40, 50, 60 cent stop, wrapping your head around $3, $4, $5 becomes a little more challenging.
Well, it's all about the range of the stock and the expected movement and the expected value. We call expected value to the movement against you versus movement in your side and sizing. So let's say if you are willing to risk, let's say $50 per trade, if you are short here, your stop should be in 50 cents movement. Okay, so you can do it both sides. You can set first where it would be your stop loss. Let's say if you short here, you will stop out on 750, which is the VWAP. Makes sense. New relative highs and VWAP. If you go short here and you're risking $1, so you can go with 50 shares if you are willing to risk $50. If your stop loss per trade is $1,000, then you can go with 1,000 shares because you are risking $1. The other side would be, okay, I'm going here 1,000 shares, and if I'm willing to risk only $100, my stop should be in 10 cents. So that makes no sense at all because your stop is too tight for the volatility that it has this stock. So size, range of movement, and of course, it's not only about how much money you want to lose or make, but also important levels. So I think if you're short here, your stop should be here, and then you measure your sizing against these levels.
Real quick, just to wrap things up, anything else as we head to the open here that's catching your eye?
As I said, look for the stocks that has been already up and down. For example, CIIT, maybe VSME as well, although it's a Chinese or Hong Kong, I don't remember, and very low flow, but it's kind of the same situation. You see it has already gone up a lot, like 1,000% almost, 700, 800%, and it has already gone down. So we can short this with tighter stops. Better than shorting front side when the movement and the volume comes. So look, the lower volume, then you are more safe to go short. The same for VSME or CIIT. As you see, we're losing volume, and don't short on the front side and start to short here. Those are the two main tickers, and of course, because of the movement yesterday, 4% down the NASDAQ and all the way again up to -1% also. So we are looking some also blue chips like Nvidia or SMCI or something like this to look for few selected trades.
Luis, back with the guys on the midday coming up about 1 o'clock this afternoon. We'll recap some of these, and I'm sure a bunch more. Luis, great input as always. Good to see you.
Thank you very much, Brendan.
All right, welcome back, Luis, and looking forward to more conversation during the midday. Make sure you guys join us at 1 o'clock sharp. Luis will be joining us, guys. All right, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to start things off with some downgrades. Nike at the top of the list, guys. We're down 1.6%. RBC Capital giving them the downgrade, outperformed to a sector perform, but also reducing its price target to $50 from $70 as this retail name continues to bleed. Now we have Franklin Financial Services here, guys, at the lower end of the range. You got you're down 1.1% here, going from outperform to market perform by Hove Group. There's no specific target on this one, guys. And then New Valent also getting the downgrade, guys, going from a buy to a neutral and a $124 price target. That's down from $151. Guggenheim giving them that downgrade. And then we have Passage Bio. You're positive here today, plus 6%, 6 1/3, going from a buy to a neutral rate. Neutral weight, and once again, no specific price target. Moving forward, guys, I know Sean's going to like this one. Oscar Health getting the nod, going from an equal weight to an overweight. You're up around 4% here this morning, and a price target of $35. Barclays giving them that upgrade. Now, Illumina slightly flat here today on the pre-market session. We're going from a neutral to an overweight, guys, with a $185 price target. JP Morgan giving them that nod. Now, Pfizer up about 0.4%, going from an underperform to sector perform with a $25 price target. Now, SailPoint, Adair talking about this name yesterday. You're down 2% here today, going with an overweight rating and a $23 price target by Cantor Fitzgerald. Those are your analyst actions here this morning. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Oscar, man.
Oscar
I
the
like
Grouch.
Oscar's not grouchy at all.
Oscar the Grouch is a gangster. Straight
This is
up.
$28?
Oscar is a gangster.
Oh boy.
Maybe he owns stock.
Maybe. I mean, UNH has been, I was kind of getting some FOMO that I was not in UNH, but instead I was in Oscar. But I actually hadn't looked at this in about a week. So yeah, there goes. We last talked about it literally a week ago, because I remember it was stuck in this area, and was thinking to myself, like, if we get to 25, maybe we should do something about it. And then of course I got distracted by the new shiny thing and didn't even look at Oscar. So this has got a smile on my face now. Thanks, Joe. $25 broke. There goes Oscar with a nice upgrade. I mean, this is another one of those healthcare plays. I mean, the healthcare industry has been super hot as of late, right? If we talk about the XLVs coming in here, this is your healthcare sector spider ETF. I've been pumping the table a little bit here, not overly, with the XBI and IBB. I kind of like the biotech sector a little bit better than healthcare. Healthcare is one of those names that, one of those sectors that of course goes up and down. It's very political. You know, you're coming into the midterms and whatnot. I don't know enough really about the US landscape to know if this is going to be talked about, you know, reform or whatnot coming out. But yeah, it's a nice little run up there. And we did talk about, that's why I like J&J, I like the pipeline. We talked about Eli Lilly as well in the XBI and the IBB. And here, we'll just call, but we'll just do, it's as if I work for a Spider Series here. You could also do the IBB, the Invesco, but XBI is what I'm in, and it's kind of languishing as well. So, you know, trying to figure out if this is, I mean, look, it's had a nice.
Not languishing. It's
I know, that's the thing. Like every time I see
boringly
something that's
amazing.
not breaking the top, I always feel like, what's happening? But yeah, it's been pretty good. And you can get it all the way back to April levels here as well on the XBI. And again, I think this is a good AI story, right? I mean, we saw the industrials really take off. I've been in this one for a minute, so we're cooking on it. But at the end of the day, you know, I think that this is what we talked about before with ETFs, you know, and you can get into individual names, like we like the J&J for that 3% dividend or so. But at the end of the day, you know, there's lots of money to be made in various spaces, including ETFs. So I would think that if you wanted to de-risk a little bit, but still have money in the game, nothing wrong with, you know, getting out of some of these high flyers. Like if you got out of some Marvell and put it into, look, SMH is going to be very violent as well, but just as talking about the semiconductors as a whole, you know, Marvell's high was, let's call it hold on a second, let me look it up. What was it, 330? What was Marvell's high? Exactly, yeah, 320. You know, so it's 320 down to 250 today for Marvell. So that's quite a nice move. It's not the same percentage-wise in the SMH. So you could still, you know, keep grabbing a little bit of, you know, exposure to the industry while dropping out of some names. So yeah, that's just a little bit of a talk there. But I like Oscar. I didn't realize, not a grouch today, that's for sure.
Yeah, I've been looking good. I picked up some of the cash to go into ADV to buy the dip on a bit of a dividend play. But if we can, I want to slide back over to some small cappers. I know Luis, like literally while Luis was talking, Fold was able to do an entire, it had a whole life cycle. Like it has birth, you know, it started walking and then it exploded, graduated high school, university, started a Fortune 500 company and then went bankrupt. Like it's crazy. Like this went in a matter of minutes. This was $1. It was 90 cents to $1.80, so it doubled up and right back in for a brief second underneath $1. And Fold, this is a Bitcoin play on Fold. Like they actually FLD, like they sold some Bitcoin to pay off some debt and raise some capital. That was the news headline. And it looks like they would have, and they had to have done that a while ago because they sold it at 71. But yeah, it just goes to show it doesn't really matter, but you got to be able to take profits where you can because obviously some of these are going to be built different than others and it's easy to become a bag holder. Just coming back to the market, we did make a high, surprise, we did make a bit of a high, the 830 number, of course, CPI. Coming as, I mean, obviously 4.2 is going to be high, but as expected for the most part, there was a slight beat on the month-to-month there. So the market did like it, but we haven't held most of those gains, and you can see topping tail candles, and you can see what happened yesterday. So yeah, no overreaction to that CPI print and the initial move to the upside. Still down 0.8%. ES is still a little bit weak. Still an upward trend, but you know, we're back to where we were before, where it's, can they hold any gains? Can we ever hold any gains when we get some buys? That's the real question.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah, sorry, Luis, yeah, that's no problem. We'll get that figured out. But yeah, no, just talking about what you were doing there. This is that number, you know, we just had the CPI come out, of course, and now you're starting to maybe battle back to the downside just a little bit. We had that huge run up, and I'm just getting the sticky note out in a matter of seconds here, but you know, that IBIT up to 35 bucks. I mean, that looked like a good level to me earlier. We did write, it's on the note right now, 35 up to 35.25, and that was yesterday's sort of closing area where we, you know, wound the day off a nice move higher midday on IBIT. So just wondering if Bitcoin is catching a little bit of a bid here in this move up with the CPI number coming out pretty much as expected. You know, and as Adair, I think had mentioned, like it's what it is right now, and we were thinking that this could have been a much more dramatic move in the overall market, but it's not really paying dividends right here for many names that were looking for some liquidity grabs or whatever. I mean, there's the dollar that shot up on that number as well. We were sort of looking at that. Sorry, that's Bitcoin right there shooting up, and that's what we were just talking about. And here's the dollar, which wasn't actually doing too much. And if anything, here's what I'm trying to mention right now. There's the shoot up here in your US dollars. So this name has been, when you're looking at the dollar, it's been sort of wagging the tail of the NASDAQ a little bit. So we'll have to wait to see if this moves higher or lower as we start this show at 9:30, and we'll have to watch it to see for some movement in the IPO space. Tomorrow on Friday, we'll see if the dollar has any sort of effect on the NASDAQ today. And then we start to clear out as we wait for SpaceX to come in on Friday. But you can always look back at Cerebras, CBRS, right there, just to get a good idea of what could possibly happen. I think Luis nailed it there about size and about opportunity and about making sure that the opportunity is there before you size in. He was talking about DSY and sort of the short floats and what was available there to short and what wasn't. But we had quite an aggressive move there on CBRS day one, where you were able to get long at 350 off the open, popped up for what Neil called 10 seconds. I think that's probably right. We can look at the time and sales, I guess. Goes up into that 380 marker, halts, opens up, I guess, 370, and then just finishes the day downside, closes 330, so underneath its issue price. The very next day, a very dramatic candle all the way to the downside, right? From 320, that's let's just say, 330, let's just say it's where it closed, and then it closes the next day 280, so you lose more than, that's a 15% or so. Then it has a nice couple days, and then it's just whoosh down again, another move lower here. So, you know, this is just part of the fear too, and Continuum as well. You know, it's continuing to the downside again today. We don't even have, I mean, if I zoom in here, I'm already zoomed in as much as I can. We may have one little green day right there, and then now back to the downside, and it looks like it wants to potentially flush again here off that 56 level. So yeah, I think there's more and more downside here in some of these IPOs, and we worry about what's gonna happen on SpaceX, honestly. I think there could be an initial pop, but what if the market loses the bid on SpaceX? Then all of a sudden, you know, you're gonna have a little bit of a problem, because all this new money could potentially got caught near the top. So what exactly does that mean?
Even if you're not trading SpaceX.
Yeah.
Like if you think, oh, I'm not trading SpaceX, I don't care, and I know I'm looking at DSY, who cares? No, it doesn't. It's going to affect just about everything else. You could be sitting around thinking, oh, well, I have this trade that I'm going to be in, like Rocket Lab. Maybe that's what you're looking at on a daily basis, and you could be in the space. Or you could just be trading the futures. Maybe you're trading something in the AI stack. It doesn't matter. It's such a big market event that if it loses the bid right away, it's not going to be a good signal at all. So on Friday, whatever it ends up being, whether it's 12:30, 1:30, 1 o'clock, I don't know. It's like an economic number. You just have to be in the know when it opens, and you better have the chart up to get an idea of what it's doing. Right? Like you wouldn't not, even if you weren't trading Apple on WDC day, you're going to have you probably, if you're trading anything related to the market, you're going to have the stock up, and you want to see what's going on with the chart. I think that's going to be the case for SpaceX. Obviously, we'll be trading it, but I think everyone else is going to have their finger on the pulse, or at least should have their finger on the pulse. Otherwise, you're going to be missing the biggest potential market mover in terms of an event, and that's for sure.
Look, we're very happy to bring you this hour sponsored by Centerpoint Securities. Centerpoint Securities gives you access to an extensive, easy-to-borrow list from multiple locate sources alongside a trading platform designed specifically for active day traders. Visit, one word, centerpointsecurities.ca/tradertv and try it today. And here's the kicker. It's the 90 days of free commissions on your trades. Scan that QR code. We just had Luis out here talking about this. The runners are here. You know, if you want to get active and you want to trade, that's 90 days of commission-free trading. And then again, with Centerpoint Securities, the multiple locates. I mean, that's what you're looking for, multiple sources on those locates. Luis himself said that DSY wasn't going to be on his radar because it was too expensive or unable to locate.
Let's check it out.
Definitely want to make sure that you go into your broker, find the right one, and with this 90 free days, you might as well give it a try. It's Centerpoint Securities. No more important time to get back into this market where there's so many, you know, movers
daily,
so many different opportunities, and including what we just talked about there with SpaceX. And then we said there was 5 or 6 runners over 100% already today, let alone the last couple of days. We want to thank Centerpoint Securities for their continued sponsorship of this opening hour. So yeah, that's that. It's 9:03 right now. We're really proud of all the accomplishments of this show, and including that big board there behind us. I mean, that's looking absolutely fantastic. We get a lot of people commenting about the new wallpaper back there, and it's, although I liked what Fabian had before, the skyline.
No, it was cool, but now we get to engage with
Yeah, now it's more about engaging.
You can see the GIFs up there and on the left, and then you'll have, when we get polls up, we'll be able to do that. Like, and I think it's just, it adds, because the show's about you guys. The show's about the viewers, and I think it takes it right back into making it all about the viewers. But speaking of the viewers, we have a free watch list for them.
Yeah.
And that's something we like to go over right about this time at 9 o'clock. So buckle up. We got less than 30 minutes to the open. The CPI gains are still getting bled away as we head closer to 9:30. We'll see. But we haven't done very good at holding these bids lately.
I'm just reading a breakdown of that print this morning, and it basically came down to car insurance.
Really?
Car insurance, the index, fell the most since COVID, randomly out of nowhere. So if you look at core specifically, if you pull that out, if that car insurance print doesn't come on a down print as much as it did, it would have been higher.
Yeah.
And significantly higher. So,
That's interesting.
I mean, at least we're paying less for car insurance, I guess.
That's good.
But that's kind of random, out of nowhere. But as the guys were mentioning, let's get into what we need to know here this morning. If you haven't done so, jump down to the description below. In that, you'll find the link to the watch list, absolutely free. Comes right to your inbox every single day. You know the spiel. If you haven't done so yet, use your email, sign up for that. You'll get everything you need to know in one neat place every day. Lots of back and forth between the U.S. and the, Middle East in general, but Iran. Overnight, once again, we had President Trump on Truth Social early on this morning. I mean, very aggressively, let's just be honest about it, and let's see whether or not this is, as we were saying earlier, just more negotiating tactics, being harsher than he has been over the past couple of days, or not. Regardless, oil is higher here.
Lately, I feel like there has been a little bit more follow through with his truth post. Like, we know what happened yesterday. He posted, and we got this drop into intraday lows of the market when he says that the U.S. is going to retaliate for Iran striking these Apache helicopters in the region, and that actually did happen, right? So then Iran strikes back. So then President Trump releases two Truth Social posts within 20 or so minutes of each other. I read the first one out earlier today where he says that Iran has taken too long to negotiate a deal that would have been great for them. Now they will have to pay the price, 3 exclamation points. There was a second one, though, mostly deriding media coverage of this entire event, but he also said that the U.S. naval blockade is, quote, the most successful blockade in the history of naval warfare. All caps, nothing gets through unless we want it to. So there's just a lot of, I think, posturing now from both sides, but as we know yesterday, there was actually some follow-through from what was posted, so we'll have to wait and see. Unfortunately, this unrest does not look like it's ending anytime soon.
No, it seems like his patience running a little bit thin with this negotiating as well. So oil, guys, was coming off a little bit. We're seeing a bounce here right now.
Yeah, it's been, ever since the midday yesterday, it's been spike, hold, spike, hold, spike,
Hold.
Yeah, and I think that's more or less what we're gonna get. Like all of the latest news or updates or movement has been bad. I mean, good if you're long whale. I'm talking about necessarily bad for the market. So until proven otherwise, you know, we're gliding higher here. That's part of the reason why I was. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about it now. Part of the reason why I was looking at gold and silver again. Like if we're creeping up and starting to look a little bit timid there in the markets, and if it has to do with the turmoil, then in reality, you already saw SLV. Gold did it already, but SLV following suit. I think there's room to get back to the March low at 55. So I'm looking at this specifically. Like I had 59 and 60, just the two resistance levels set, and almost tagged one on that 930 number, but I'll be heading over to silver. And I don't think you're trading those without looking at USO or paying attention to any headlines at all. Senator Warren seeks SEC review of SpaceX IPO. Shocking.
Yeah, I don't think, no review necessary on that one. I mean, if there is, it's not going to affect the open, I don't think.
My guess is it's probably just complaining about the governance is my guess.
Who knows? Yeah, USO, I mean, we won't, have talked about, you just talked about gold, silver there a little bit. I was going to look at gold myself, but yeah, for me, USO, I don't know. I already said what I need to do about trading wise. I think you just want to wait. And basically, I was going to say fade. For me, I think the right move is you fade whatever direction a major move occurs in. So, like yesterday, I mean, it's easy to cherry pick this one, but even if you look again, like, here's a move down, there's a move, like it's almost like V-shaped recovery right back to get to the highs, only to close sort of where we started again. I mean, and there's going to be different, I can't there hasn't been too many volume spikes actually going through. But here's another big one, sort of continuation until eventually melted back down again. So just looking at yesterday with some of these headlines that are going to come out, watch for like a bigger spike and then a move down. This is what we're talking about here today. So there's the move early, here's the move down, there's the big spike again, there's the move down. So just thinking that eventually it will find a home. It'll probably will be up today, but it's unless we get something completely definitive, which I don't even know what that could be at this point. I would think that any major move, let's look for it to slow down and then play sort of the reversion for USO. That's kind of something that I'd be looking at, and ear to the ground for any sort of updates as far as Middle East talks and peace talks and less than peace talks. Anything like that going through is something to look at. And then, for some of the equities, we've talked about maybe an Occidental or something moves a lot more than XOM or CVX. So if you were looking for something there, you also have the XLE, which is an ETF that I'm still involved in. I haven't really done too much with this. Was never really a huge position, but another way to sort of play all these games with oil is we don't have the split adjusted, but it's doing quite well still. XLE from January, 45 up to 57. So lots of names involved with the XLE, so you can get a little piece of the pie there. I still think long oil makes a little bit of sense. It's going to take a minute to unwind. Who knows what those reserves look like. We do get oil, actually, inventories today at 10:30, so watch out for that one. All right, SMCI. Nobody knows what the story is because it just says SMCI. So we're going to go back over there. We're going to find out right now, and this is the importance of grabbing our watch list. Get that link in description. SMCI is one of the top stories, and it's a big one today.
It is a big one.
Yeah, after the close yesterday on the back of this news that came out, was it like 420, 430, somewhere in that neighborhood? $5 billion underwritten offering, $7 billion financing package in total after just a disastrous day yesterday.
Yeah, and in addition to that underwritten offering, they're going to be also doing a $2 billion at-the-market offering. Apparently, they're trying to fund the purchase of components to fulfill $39 billion or so worth of orders from more than 20 customers. Yes, that's a lot of numbers coming at you guys, but again, orders sound pretty good. I was talking to Neil about this off camera. But then their margins have already been pretty smacked, so it'll be interesting to see if this can really help the margins at all. Apparently, again, they did announce this $39 billion in AI server orders. This number sounds familiar, so I wonder if they maybe hinted at it during their last earnings report. Either way, kind of a mixed look here for SMCI, but the stock certainly not receiving this news particularly well. Apparently, the banks involved with these offerings include JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, and Citi.
It's not nothing. This is a $24 billion company, market cap-wise, so it's a significant chunk of change, guys, they still need.
Well, if people are gonna get remotely freaked out about Google for $85 billion when they're like a $4.5 trillion company or whatever, I guess they were yesterday at the open. They probably aren't anymore. Well, SMCI raising about 30% of their market cap is going to raise eyebrows, especially when it's SMCI. But there is what Radera said, the $39 billion in new orders, which is it's good. But when you consider their margins have been typically in the high single digits, 10% at absolute best, and that that backlog in the orders aren't necessarily guaranteed, right? Like it's potential orders. So you still have a lot of these same concerns rolling through. Obviously, the chart hasn't done very well, and it's down 12%. So there's nothing positive that I'm going to be able to say when it comes to the chart. I just want to look short. I was going to short the pop anyways back into this breakout level. You had a lot of buying acceleration at 38 bucks. Just go back a couple of weeks ago, and then you had that bottom in yesterday. So as long as it's under that, it can try to do SSR squeeze or whatever, and I would look for it to fill in the gap and wait for the 38 on SMCI. And if not that, there's always the prior day low, which is also something that we look at to give me some confidence with that same price level. It's at VWAP as we speak. So if it's gonna break out this 36, then I'm in a wait mode on SMCI. Otherwise, we could always just follow the volume-weighted average price if it wants to give us that as well. But I'm going to be looking for the short here. It's a big raise. It's not all guaranteed revenues. Their margins are pretty thin, so it's hard to see the market liking this one too much. But it might require some patience at the open. We've seen it try to squeeze before.
All right, yeah. I mean, I was just going to say it's getting hit today. I think this is a business that has sort of proven that despite sort of all the controversies around this name with management and with some of those, importing and exporting violations that they had. I still think this name can be bought at these levels, down into the 200 period moving average. It almost looks like where you had the 200 period above the 50, similar to that IBM trade yesterday, where you're right here, right now, into a level where this is going to be interesting to see what winds up happening. So I'm actually going to look for potentially a long in and around 35 bucks right there, just a key level of 35. Let's see if it flushes into that. That puts it down about 14% or so, and then the move higher. The pullback recently has been happening to the whole space, right? I mean, we'll take Dell, for example. You have a move up in a stock that's just been like, El Fuego, it's been on fire. 480, 490, all the way down to 374 right now. So if Dell catches some strays today because of this, probably a good opportunity to pick up some Dell at some point. But I mean, dude, if you haven't gotten a Dell, are you going to get it soon? Because this 260 level, if that ever comes into play, I think that's a buy, like right off this 50 period moving average. 260 would be great. I mean, you got to drop down 110 bucks from here. That's another 30%. I don't think that that's necessarily going to happen, but wait for this 50 period to sort of get back up here and see if we can play somewhere in this 320 to 340 area on Dell. So if Dell catches anything, which it is today, down 2%. The market's down too, right? So, and there's that move. There's the move higher on CPI. Here's the move coming back in. So as expected there. But Dell and SMCI ready to go. And yeah, this DSY, I mean, starting to get hot again there, looking to break through. We had Luis on, talked about, it's really cold in here right now, I feel like. Maybe it's not. But there.
I find it cold in here every
Yeah. So there it goes, man. Up to 1030 again right now. DSY. Shout out to Tisha Perkins and everybody. Joe's trading this one right now in the chat. So we're getting ready to rock and roll here at 1040, 1050, looking to break through on DSY, man. The name that can't stop, won't stop. It did break through VWAP right there and through here, but just held it. So watch out, man. Right now you got the 50, the VWAP, the 25, everything's right here right now at $8. So it seems to be a lot of technical support down there, and there might actually be support for shares because we hadn't broken through $7 on that last move there. So we'll wait, man. DSY, huge move higher today, only 400%. CCI for a 2-3 month swing up to the 105 area. Any thoughts? Is that
Bada
Cummins?
Bing.
Is that what CCI
Bada
is?
Ding.
No, Crown Castle, CCI. Cummins, C-C-U-M-I. Yeah, CCI right there, Crown Castle. So don't know a whole heck of a lot about this name. But yeah, looking pretty healthy on the, what'd you say, 2 to 3 month swing up to 105 area. 105, I think, is the high, or is that the all-time high? Yeah, so I mean, there's room to go on here. What does CCI even do? Hold on a second. CCI, Crown Castle. Let me have a quick look at what they're doing. Crown Castle, second largest,
they're like
tower operator? Oh, okay. Financial position, plans to divest. All right, 40,000 wireless towers. All right. I mean, look, I think right now when you're talking about wireless, everything, it's been a little bit on the back burner because we're looking at ASTS and things like that are trying to do something similar with satellites in space. But yeah, I think it's probably the only thing that I know about this, and there was American Tower Corporation and things like that, they're not like huge movers, and they need something underneath them. I think lower rates might help, and that's not happening. So I would think up to 105 seems like a huge move for this name. Especially where it's come from. Does it have another 15% in it, upside into the next 2 to 3 months? I don't know. I'm not super bullish overall in the next little while, but this again, maybe it's not an AI name. CCI, thank you for the super chat. Now I know a little bit more about it. I just don't know if it has the juice to get there in that couple months. That's all. Like this in the month of April, we had a great April and May, and this went from 86 to 92. It looks like it's a slow grind. It looks like a great name and good name to be in, other than all these rest. But 105 does seem like that's a little bit of a jaunt there. You can actually look up historical volatility and see what the chances are of that getting up there.
Maybe
if this is an options name, you can actually check out options and see what those prices look like and the odds of it getting up there and play those odds.
But this SpaceX creates like maybe a theoretical top or something, and the satellite names are a little bit weaker. Then you get a market top too. You get sort of this as more infrastructure and the dividend play. Like I think they pay a decent enough dividend. You might see that kind of a rotation possibly. I think that's what you'd be going for. You'd be looking for the rotation into some things that are a little bit more stable that have a divvy. So why not? Let's talk about some Apple again.
Downside, I mean, it's kind of chopping around, not doing a heck of a lot. I was just keeping my eye on a couple other things coming across here this morning. But yeah, downside again this morning, potentially, anyways, on the back of 2 straight days under pressure here. This was an interesting note. I read through the entire thing this morning before we came on. And this was not the first time I've heard this narrative, but a lot of analysts maybe shifting the tone a little bit when it comes to the gross margin aspect of Apple's business after the Siri launch, relying so heavily on Google's infrastructure and Google's network and Google's cloud services, whether or not they actually see more processing, more compute going to Google, and therefore not necessarily having to handle that cost structure themselves. Does that hurt? Does that harm them? Time will tell, but some question marks anyways on the back of, are they actually helping Google more than I think people think?
Yeah, I think you guys really say the Apple stock crumbled over these last 2 days. And I mean, I've talked to you about this off camera. I mentioned this on camera multiple times, but historically we do perform poorly on WWDC, like the day of the keynote. The fact that we dropped yesterday though so sharply was also really interesting. And I think those margin concerns of note. I also want to mention a note that Baird wrote yesterday. They basically think that at least part of the reason for the sell-off is because yes, the company gave us more on AI than they tend to have given us on AI, but they said like later this year for the Siri AI beta, and they didn't really give us a timeline for the full release. So in addition to margin concerns, we don't even really know when this new product's gonna come out, and that probably sounds a lot to investors like the Apple intelligence nightmare of 2024.
Still some challenges in Europe as well with this entire thing not being launched yet. The sum of that note was essentially inference is cheaper than training. Still, and will be going forward, I think. So is it an Apple win? Is it a Google win? Is it a win for both, guys? Who knows?
Long-term, both. I think that's the easy answer. The partnership has yielded benefits for both parties. Nice and cheap for Apple, and keeps revenue in Alpha's pocket. I think both ways, it's still something that's worked. Unfortunately for Apple, you know, it hasn't been a good ride the last couple of sessions. Everyone can see it, but we're back to the 50 period, and we're back to the 2025 high. That's 288.5-ish, whatever you can round it up or down if you want to, but that was effectively just yesterday's lows barely broke that. So I said yesterday, looking for, I think it falls into that 50 period. I like the 50 period here, so I want to look dip and rip here on Apple. It's flat on the session, which is actually better than the overall market. You got 0.8 down on the NASDAQ. You got about 0.5% down on the ES. So it's already relatively strong. I think that's part of why it didn't move that much on the CPI, because it was already doing a little bit better than the market. And it's not having that sort of risk, the same risk moves as you will see in some of the chip names. And that aspect of the market. So yeah, 288.5 dip by zone Apple.
Look, guys, we have 7,200 and 363 watching. Hit that like button. See if we can get up to 1,000 before the market opens. And if you do hit the like button, your trades have a better than 50% chance of working out. So if you hit that like button, you'll be in there. That number is not vetted nor guaranteed, but if you do hit it, it does give good karma. So I think you guys should try to do that if you're able to. And yeah, look, I have Apple right now. Whether or not you're on your mobile or whatever, hit the like button for us and get that going, and subscribe to the channel would be fantastic. I'm still looking at the short here for Apple. I mean, we had a crazy short yesterday. Oops, this is my actual post. Maybe it's here from yesterday, that short on Apple. Did I even write it down? Oh, this is the start of it. Yeah, here's where it went. It just kept on cracking down. So we shorted into that 300 marker, and then it just bled pretty much the whole way. And what's up, Jesse? I still have this up on the note there. But yeah, nice move to the downside and for Apple. So we're going to try to do basically the same thing again. So I put this go over onto X. You can find this right there. It's also made potentially on Instagram. Apple short right there, 292. WWDC failed to provide any major catalysts, in my opinion. And yeah, man, it's nothing but downside. there for Apple the last 5 days. This pretty good move right into the 50-period moving average. So we could get a bounce off this level, but that's still only 288. And that's where we wanted to look for the long, right? We talked about this earlier, right into there. Let's see what winds up happening if it does get into 288. That was sort of bunched up yesterday. And for some reason, we had stopped there and then retraced back up. That's around that 12:30 time when we had the tweet from the president there talking more about Iran. But the market did get going, but then at the end of the day, Apple still was on its way down until that had that imbalance. And you could see it was a big buy imbalance. So I still think up here is a little fugazi. Like if we don't have that imbalance, you might go back in and look at 288. So I'm still gonna look at the short, and this is 292 right here. So that's why I'm drawing that line in there. We couldn't really beat it yesterday. When we came back in, we tried there at 12. We tried again at 2. We tried again at 230. We tried again at 3. And at that 3 at the end, sorry, at 4. And then boom, downside. So we hadn't yet broke through 292. So I say, Apple, you do you, but I'm shorting 292. That was all right. I mean, a little bit of a rhyme there. All right, let's go back over to the desk. Right now, it's semis week. You kidding me? It's been week for a minute here, so we'll go back over. We'll find out more about the semis and maybe talk a little bit about Marvell or something.
Yeah, past couple of days pretty tough here for this group in general. I mean, there's no real significant catalyst to pass along today. I wanted to highlight this, however. If you zoom out on Nvidia, I mean, that candle is maybe the least or the farthest thing from weak on a daily chart. If you're looking for some sort of positivity here, there was a ton of people sitting in front of $200 to buy Nvidia.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think there's like definitely technically a lot of support potentially. I do want to mention one thing that is at least tangentially related to semis in the AI trade. Oracle earnings tonight. So we are expecting $19 billion in revenue. That would be 20% year-over-year growth, earnings of $1.96 per share. And again, I think because of their AI-related interests, depending on how this performs tonight, and if they beat or if they miss, how the market feels about it, I feel like this could potentially influence what we see with these AI stocks, especially tomorrow. So I would maybe watch this even today, see if it performs with the AI stocks or separately, because I think these semis very much still in play. Let's see if this recent weakness continues, though.
Didn't move on this, but worth noting, Robinhood, some insider buying, 20 million total, wow. Director Meyer Malka bought another 250,000 shares at $81, bringing his total stake to 8 million shares.
Oh.
Not notional.
Shares.
Shares. He's very, very long, so good for him, I guess. But again, Robinhood just kind of chopping around here.
I wonder if Robinhood is going to be a huge beneficiary of all of these moves. I mean, we talked about Centerpoint Securities. You make sure you scan that right there, grab your free 90 days. But on Robinhood and Centerpoint, all these names could definitely get a bump up here with the recent volatility in the market. But before
volatility is a good thing. PDT is a good thing. Your balancer should be out.
Yeah, I know. I just want to see before we go over some names. I just want to see if any of the names are on there. TSM as a semi with a little bit of a sell there. We can check. They've had a little bit of a rough ride, but not as much as the others. There's SoFi. We just talked about them as well. Well, not them, but the banking sort of sector there with Robinhood, trading wise. But yeah, no semis on here. IBIT with a sell though.
No surprise. IBIT with a sell. I'm pretty sure it's been the sell imbalance every single morning. 500,000, 500,000, 600,000, something along those lines. Nvidia, yes, had buyers at $200, but it also lost a 50-period moving average, and so lost a 50-period moving average and closed underneath it. I just wrote 208. And the 50 period's at 209, but I think I wrote down the 208 here because you had double barrel close. That's why double barrel closes at the 208, back to back. Close prices matter more than open prices. But if it's a consolidation in a downtrend under the 50 period, then on the daily, your 50 period's somewhere up in here, and then the 208 gives you a place to look. It didn't make the top 4, but it was the next on the list for me. Continued weakness in the semis, and I still think the CPI possibly gave it at least enough juice to get some pops. And if that's going to be the case, there's this and there's SMCI, which are both, although SMCI just lost a bit again. So you can maybe forget about the pop to fill in the gap, at least for now. That just went through 35, now 14% down for SMCI, continues to bleed.
Marvell, unfortunately, a name that I really like that we've been selling a little bit of. We never sell it all, of course, and so that's always looks bad because it's 340 down to 240 or 260. It did touch down to 240. I'm a little nervous about this here. Potentially, like I had said about some other names coming back, and I think it was Dell coming into the 50 period moving average. I still think that this is a possibility for all of these names, especially as we get some liquidity pulling out of the market, getting ready for Friday. And look, I'm sick and tired myself of talking about SpaceX, but I really, I had sort of talked about potentially some juice coming out of these trades, traders, selling names that have been huge profits, huge windfalls to raise some capital, to put those bids in, to grab those SpaceX shares at 135, to put in your order of interest, right, for your broker, Schwab, or whoever you're with, to tell them you want some shares. You got to have some money in your account to do that. Feel like a lot of these big winners have been hit just because of that, and I do think that this story is nowhere near over for a name like Marvell. Jensen's talked about it having a 9 or a 1 handle on it. That's $1,000 or $900. So that's not that I'm taking that for what it's worth. It's just, the AI stack and the AI trade I do not believe is over with, but I do think that we can fall in, and it's vulnerable right here today at some of these levels. So watch out for a pre-market break of 253 on Marvell. That's basically just a warning sign there. All right, do you guys want to talk about Chinese small caps? Maybe there's a couple names we could go over, and then we'll start the trade with 1 minute left.
Yeah, real quick, coming up to the open here, guys. I mean, there's nothing as far as news, real significant news anyways. This is the latest contestant in this past couple of days game show, it seems. DSY, teeny tiny little $8 million market cap kind of company. Headquartered in Shenzhen. Again, this is more we were talking about with Luis. If you missed it, go back and rewatch that. It's worth a note. More of at least he was suggesting more of a market structure type of event, less on the news side of things, but very, very thin. Tread lightly. Good luck, guys.
Try to go long. I mean, the order is probably going to pop in. I don't necessarily want to have this right now, but long through 10 to see if we halt early up at 11. That's kind of what I'm thinking about right here off the open. My order's in right now, but my order won't trigger in the pre-market. So let's wait to see what winds up happening here. Hopefully we don't miss it with only 10 seconds left before open. I'm gonna go long, hold it back to 9, try to risk about $1 here on DSY straight off the open. So I think we'll get punched in. And this open, of course, brought to you by VinFast, ticker VFS. Go check it out right now. The global company that is, there it is. No, we didn't. For some reason, we didn't get filled there. The order went out at 10:10, and how did I not get those shares there? I'm pretty sure it went against me back and forth there, but there's the move. We tried to take that long at $10. There's the blast through. That's too bad we don't have that. My order went out, but just didn't fill there, so too bad. But there it goes, man, upside there. We only crossed 20 pennies, so that was not good enough. So 10, we should have been long at 10.20. There's the blast off on DSY. But watch out now, we're stopping right here. It did not halt. Thought it should have there, but it did not. So watch out for, there it is. Nice little flush there on DSY, so we're not in that. There it is, it's halting down right now, DSY. I don't have the shortable shares, but it's a down halt right now on DSY.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to, you cannot pay for locates at the last second if you're trying to play that. There's also this one, VSME, which is, whoa, okay.
Hello.
All right,
it's halted DSY.
VSME was about to break this wedge and close over 4, and I was gonna even go for that one to the long side, but it's absolutely, we're just rugging off of the open here, so I actually lost a bid. Overall in the market, slight tick down. Apple did not move, so nothing to see there. Bitcoin doing power moves to the upside a little bit. So Bitcoin heading up to 35, IBIT heading up to 35,
yeah,
Bitcoin heading, obviously Bitcoin heading up to 62,000, but the pre-market high is 35 to 35 quarter was the zone that I like. So we're gonna get on the offer of this bad boy. SMCI trying to make a move as well. As it was back through 36, already at 35 again. That didn't take very long, SMCI.
Nope,
these stocks are, wow. SMCI shot up from 35 to 36.5 and is already back at 35. They wasted no time dumping that thing.
All right, I do have an order already. I'm already into IBIT. I mean, this is what we wrote down on the note, right? We'd like the sticky note level there of $35. Obviously, it goes for a run early, so we'll be in this short right now, and we're gonna wait to see what happens if we get through $35. We're short right now, IBIT, and a decent amount of shares, so we'll wait for that. Okay, the other one we want to look at was Apple, so we'll have a quick look to see what Apple's doing. We like the 292 level, not quite up there yet, so we wait for Apple. The NASDAQ not doing much, so our TQQ short that we were sort of thinking about here, $72.75 to $73. We wrote down 73, that's pretty much where it gets to off that CPI number. We have to wait now to see if it gets back into those levels one more time. SMR, there's some questions about that one underneath $10 right now, so we'll have to wait to see what's going on. What was that? There's something about Citigroup right now.
Yeah, I heard the same
just something about Trump and Citigroup. That's all that I heard.
Well,
so Citigroup now popping up $3.
It's flying.
Adara's looking into that one, so get ready for that. Donald Trump and Citigroup.
Robinhood, by the way,
Oracle.
before we go to Robinhood, 87.50 is absolutely flying to the upside. So Robinhood catching a huge bid. Adara.
Keep an eye here on Citigroup. Here's the post from U.S. President Donald Trump. Trump saying, quote, wow, Citi was ranked #1 in topping M&A advisory market by value in Q1. Congrats to Jane F., referring to CEO Jane Fraser, and all of her great people. They've worked really hard. Big comeback for Citi. Now, Jane Fraser was actually one of the CEOs that was present on President Trump's trip or delegation to China, so they do have a prior relationship. Interesting look here. Again, for Q1, apparently good ranking for Citigroup as mentioned by President Trump. Back to you.
So we'll wait to see if there's any movement over there in the banking sector. There's Citigroup now pulling back, was 137, now back down into 135 and change. Okay, here comes the market, right? Looks like it's trying to get lower again right now. I mean, so we'll look at Google that has popped a little bit higher right here, trying to get back into VWAP. So with the NASDAQ down 0.9, we'll look to get some Google strength, right? Yesterday, we actually ran that bottom. Google was my #1 stock, was my #1 stock yesterday, P&L wise, because we hit this right there on the way back up. We realized it was relatively strong against the market, but here come the market right back in. And, you know, as expected, we talked about that bump on CPI. There it comes right back in, right into VWAP again, so no surprise there. And of course, IBIT not really moving. We wanted to look at silver as well, but
it's not moving yet either.
Right here as well, so
yeah,
we'll wait to see if there's any movement today.
Silver very much inside move, but you know what? If it breaks this trend, I'm not gonna pop into the short unless it gets all the way up into this 59 quarter range, or it can break down. SMCI is now 34.50. 34.50. As I was saying that, I realized that I was saying it down 15% as it is absolutely bleeding. It's VSME. That's versus Media Holdings. Okay, whatever. That one broke the $4. I didn't catch the break. So if it maybe pulls back and gives you something off of VWAP, 480%, I guess everyone knows the drill by now, right? Like yada, 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 small float, yada, 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 squeeze, all that good stuff. They're all just pure momentum plays. But we should want to have a couple of bids down here, but if we lose 35 and break that to the upside, I give it a couple of shekels, get out and wait for 35.25. So I want to try to keep it tight. If we lose 35 even, I can get out and try to jump back in, but I don't want to hold it all the way to the quarter. Got to have some kind of a break of the trend line to try to get us back into that trade. So yeah, was it VRM? I already said it. Versus
VR, yeah.
VSME. I keep wanting to say VRME. Maybe it's not even going to pull back in, but this feels like it's going to be the runner, at least early on. It's the only one that held VWAP out of these small cappers that I saw.
All right, we're going to try to go short Apple if it does make a move back higher there. I'm still going to hold on. Obviously, Neil and I have different strategies there on IBIT. He's going to get out. I'm going to hold on, give it a little bit of room there up into the level that we thought could hold. That's that 25 area. But I'm going to try to short Apple. VWAP's right here into 290.50. That would be sort of an area that I'm talking about. If we can get some 289.50 to start this game, then let's play it. 289.50 and then up into 290. Looking to go short on Apple. It was one of the top ideas yesterday. It was a top idea yesterday, and it looks like it's happening again here today. But the NASDAQ's kind of just trying to find its footing, so not really sure which direction we want to go yet here today as far as NASDAQ is concerned. And a name like Palantir's not sure either. We're at a very key level of 130. I mean, we dropped down below that. We got ourselves a little bit of a problem. DSY was one of the early halters and still is halted, so now it's tapping 750. If you paid for shorts, maybe you're able to get that. We tried to punch that long at $10. I had mentioned, $10 into 11 should halt, didn't halt. That would have been an out. We were trying to say that. We wanted the long 310, we punched it, we just never got filled, but there it is upside on DSY right now. All right, we're short Apple, so the market is now running. We average into our position here on IBIT, so we get a little bit there. We're still waiting for that level to break 35.25, and that looks like it may be going, as there goes Bitcoin now through 62, and there goes the market, right? The market is now shooting higher, so we'll wait to see.
Robinhood is gone.
Yeah, what's up with Robinhood? What that was the insider buying, right?
Insider buying, but outside of insider buying. But outside of that, I mean, you do have crypto going up and the market going up. You do have the 80 level holding. Ooh, this is exactly just keep making these higher highs. Robinhood 80's been the 75 to 80's been the spot to be able to try to take this thing. So I want to try to respect that. Look, I recently blocked.
Here comes
Apple.
Apple.
For the first time ever, so is what it is. Excited that it's going up finally. But it's been languishing because crypto sucked. But now if it can disconnect from crypto, I think that can be fantastic. That said, IBIT just went green, so no question about it. Back up to the 35.25. This is the second level. Send the note 35 quarter. So it goes at the 35 quarter, and I'll take the second shot at it. I want to hold it all the way. Get a quarter in there and try and take some in the high teens on this.
Okay, good. Yeah, right now we have Apple. Good move to the downside there on Apple, man. We take 50 cents. We'll wait to see what happens after that. 289 quarters, 289 flat. Sorry, 289 flat, yeah. And now it's starting to make another move higher here. It's Apple looking to get short here in around that 290 area. Hey, man, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we're out. 290.50. You might as well put that price in right now just in case it runs against me, that we have our stop in just in case. We are looking to get shorter up there right now on Apple. So let's see what, okay, here it comes. Nice move a little lower right now on Apple. We are like fully loaded now on IBIT. Like we're trading almost at a different level here for what I'm trying to do, waiting for that 335.30. If that pops through, it'll be a decent hit today for IBIT, as it's just going green. So we're sort of, hitching our wagon to this trade. It's been a good one. We're able to make a little bit of money here. Okay, there goes Apple to the downside as well. We're able to capture some Apple. That's trying to get into the vaunted club right now as well, as it is the two top trades that I have today, as we talked about, written down right here on the list, 35 to 35.25 on IBIT, and then the Apple short as well. But hey, man, it's a pretty violent market right now. Nice move back up to the upside, and now trying to come back in. And Apple's at a dangerous spot. We talked about that 288 because it's right at the 50-period moving average. So we don't want to be averaged into this one for very long, but looks like Apple right now making a move lower. Let's see if it winds up holding, as it's just bounced back up into 290. Was that a call for Adara?
I think so.
All right, let's go see what she's up to.
So there's just been a lot of insider purchases by this one guy. I found at least 3 separate articles suggesting that cumulatively, starting in early June to now, Meyer Malka, who is a director of Robinhood, has purchased $50 billion or so worth of shares over the last week or so. So I couldn't find anything from today, but we know June 3rd, he purchased some. That would be last Wednesday. Also, a couple days ago, it was reported that he purchased even more. So massive cumulative purchases here for Meyer Malka. Again, circulating on social media today, though the articles have been posted about this as this has come out again over the last week. Back to you.
All right. Yeah, there's Apple right there. Now it's $1, so it's down to 288.50 right there. Boom, goes to the downside. It's Apple. It's starting to tank right now, here, right now. And it's a good thing, too, because we're in that same short over there with IBIT, so we'll make some money, obviously, on Apple. And right now, take a wait and see approach here with IBIT as it's getting close to a level of shutdown of this particular trade. But hey, man, that's why for me, trading multiple names, looking at multiple ideas, and these are the top 2 ones on the list today. So it looks like we'll go 1 for 2, 1 with Apple. Apple's huge. Apple's now $1.20 in the money. And the next one would be the TQs. We just had to rip up to some levels. I don't know. Oh, we got to 73 again, and I wasn't watching. It's too bad. 73 was the short there for the TQs. And unfortunately, we're just getting into that IBIT trade, end of that Apple trade. But hey, man, we couldn't be happier than what's happening right now. It's now $1.70 in the money, and the traders are here one more time for you today. Neil's here, I'm here. We've got these trades on board right now for you. It is Apple to the downside, and there it goes, $1.70 now in the money for Apple. Hey, man, sometimes it takes one trade, and we got it right here. It's Apple.
Yeah, Apple downside, market coming back in. We said SMCI would try to short it. We got it off of VWAP in here. It finally came in after that crazy run at the open. up to 36.5. But we got it just underneath VWAP 35 quarters. I'm in at 7. Looking for LODs about 34.5, so we're kind of scalping in a 1% range. So it'll be a 1 for 2 position depending on IBIT, because the second salvo on IBIT, it's got a good topping tail candle, but we haven't pushed back yet. Nothing back into the downside yet on IBIT. It's in the money slightly, but I want this back into the volume-weighted average price. Then we can be a little bit happier about how that one's going, because the market is still very, very much, I mean, I want to say, I hesitate to say it, kind of bullish. You're holding higher lows, and we did have that good move off of CPI. Don't want to completely ignore that. It's all higher lows, and see as we press back in, you got to take the profit on any kind of a move that you're able to get. So I got half out into the lows on SMCI, and I'll only reload if I see another topping tail candle. The market's looking pretty strong, and it's getting buoyed by a wealth of names. I mean, Robinhood's at $90 now.
Bang.
$90?
You like that one?
It's gotten to 90 before. Can we hold 90? This is, people have been selling this sucker between 90 and 95. I just want to see 100 on Robinhood as a new shareholder to Robinhood this year. This is what you need to see. Finally, it's got some juice going. PDT was part of it, but the fact that Bitcoin is going up kind of helps the long term, but not good for the Bitcoin trade.
No, yeah, we covered. We're out of more than half right now of Apple. I mean, Apple's making its way back up, and we're gonna have to think about shorting that one as well, again, if it does keep on doing this move. And we talked about where our stop's gonna be. I'm still happy with that one right now. Here goes SoFi coming back in again. Yeah, when do you go to London?
Oh, shoot, wait a minute.
Aren't you going to London
Oh,
soon?
shoot, that's mad.
Yo, bring me a stack, man, over here at some point, over here. Yeah, we're actually really lucky that we get to go on these trips, and they're funded, you know, by...
Dude, that's like, it's soon.
Yeah, exactly, so...
I didn't even, yeah, I totally forgot how.
All right, IBIT right now is really Rip City here, up into 35 and change. So there it goes, man, 35.25s now for IBIT, getting close to getting stopped out on this name as crypto just keeps on running higher here into some of these bids. We'll wait to see what winds up happening now with IBIT making moves higher. So it looks like we will wind up getting hit on this one as it just goes higher, and it's gonna break right now. We're not gonna, as I said, we're not just gonna sit in this one and let it lose. So there it goes. We will hit the fail button there on IBIT, 0 for 1 on that name, and we'll see if we can get back in. Who knows? Apple, this is where we're sort of looking now, but wow, what a move higher here for the overall market. Now breaking through that 73. I'm not gonna short the market and Apple at the same time. We just lost shorting Bitcoin, but Apple up to 291 and change right now. Watch out, that's maybe a stop out zone into the 50s, but we're short. So let's go and see what happens now with AAPL now trying to pull back in into the 70s. Good level for us if it does come back, but we just shorted off VWAP. We're trying to give it to 290.50, so there it comes right back in. Now in the money here on Apple.
Yeah, so one came out and one actually did not break, but close, but 1 cent or so on IBIT, but SMCI lost VWAP, or whether it gained VWAP again. So even SMCI caught a bit of a bit. I know this is, when it's gapped down 15%, I have to zoom out. We got a little bit of a stop because I was holding still half. End up being flat for now, but you're back under VWAP. I'm just jumping back in to the trade and taking a second shot. If you do a topping tail wick and I get out, then I just jump right back in the trade and I just adjust the stop back over. I wanted to go to, it's VSME. I know these small cappers are going. VSME hugging VWAP so far, so it's looking pretty good. Nothing crazy parabolic yet in at least this small capper that I'm looking at. But I know a lot of you guys are trading the small cappers, looking at them. If they halt, just throw in the chat and say, like, at one of us if you want to know what the tap is. We have Halt scanners as well. I don't really see anything popping off on any of those. And Robinhood, wherefore art thou, Robinhood? Yeah. 91 we just hit on Robinhood. It's flying today. No question about it. And SoFi, by the way, SoFi also.
Yeah, SoFi's doing nice.
Yeah,
too.
SoFi doing really well
like,
today as well.
Like some SoFi. And as Neil said, man, none of it matters unless you get out. So hopefully you guys are able to capture some of that profit if you are into Robinhood, but it's a back and forth game.
Needs to get to 100.
Yeah, exactly. So if it gets to 100, maybe you'll cash some out.
Well, I'm going to cash some out if I see $100.
Yeah.
But if I don't see the 100.
That's what I'm saying. So
yeah,
you got to,
exactly.
people always talk about it's so easy to say, you know, your dollar cost averaging one way, but are you getting out the other way? And that's the questions that we've had on the show. So shout out to everybody that's looking at that. I mean, Apple right now, honestly, it's a big one now, almost in $1 again. And we did put on a good amount of shares to the upside here for Apple. So we're really, you know, putting some work in on that one. We did get reshort again there on IBIT because, yeah, we got stopped out by 1 penny. They're breaking through 30s. So we'll get back in and just see if this market does want to give a little bit back up to the upside. We'll stop out again if that does happen, and then we'll leave it alone because right now the big trade for me is on Apple, and it's not even close here. Hopefully it keeps on going down. We have a lot of protection on that one. DSY does open back up and is actually pretty stable right now between $7 and $8. So here's DSY. Prone to more halts, right? I mean, it's already up 300%. It just has to, you know, flash back and forth, and you could get that other halt. Watch for that 10% there in just a matter of seconds, and then you get the halt the other way. So here it comes now down in through 7. It would be watch out. That low wick right there is 650. You lose this little area that's potential support, which is maybe why it bounced off $6, but there we go. That's a level to look out for here is $6 on DSY. So we will have a quick little look there. And then, you know, the market's already off, so I'm not even going to look at that short anymore. And then we had SLV written down for $59, and that one ripped through that level too. And these were just closing areas for potential support or resistance. So right now it's really just Apple working. We're back into the short with IBIT. But yeah, there goes SLV upside as well. And we'll just sit here and wait to see what happens with Apple. This is going to be a big, hopefully a big P&L one here, but still more to come on Apple.
Lunch 99 caught Meta up. Thank you, everyone. So Meta, I mean, the market's going.
Yeah, the market's
I
nice.
want
Back
to
to
jinx
flat,
it.
finally.
The ES is green in like 2 points. Like a couple of ticks and we'll be green on the ES. The NASDAQ is already in the green, at least close enough to it. Yeah, 0.1% to the upside. But look, Meta being up 1% is good and all, but Meta's underneath $600. I still think Meta, downward trend, break the channel, do something, man. Like that still looks a little bit unhealthy to me for Meta. I just don't like the stock underneath the $6, but I'll slap the fail on, where are we? On Bitcoin. If you short it every single day, one day, it's gonna only go up. And this is so different from most of the opens. You know, sideways sometimes, but mostly it's just trend down, find an early pop zone. And it could still happen, but I don't wanna fight this one too hard. I'll go back to another name that's on the list, right? And that's gonna be SLV. SLV, I liked 59 and 60. 59, no topping tail, no entry point, but we can still trend up into the 60 level. So this VSME, which is versus media limited, it's not really popping down into VWAP like it was before, but it's consolidating over the volume weighted average price. So I might take, this is the one I like out of the small cap. There's like a million of them, but this is the one that I like. So I want to try to get something in front of the $4 if I can the next time it comes down here.
Okay, yeah, obviously IBIT continues to go to the upside, so we're out of that one. Let's look at Marvell here quickly just to see what's going on in some of these semi names. Yeah, back up 1%, so that's really nice. I can't feel my hand, so it's all good. It is the coldest it's pretty much, I haven't.
The AC's on full blast.
It is like very uncomfortably cold, to be honest with you. But here we go, AMD coming in now as well. That's upside, but now starting to fade out. I'm just waiting for Apple to break, man. I mean, if Apple can get up with that break side of this 89.60 marker. I'm sitting there again. It's actually 88.70, sorry, not 89.70. We'll hopefully get a break lower right through that price to 88.70. We'll see if there's something going on there. But yeah, for now, not much. Let's check out Tesla. And again, guys, we have that stock visualizer. Sometimes it's on back there, right now not, but we do have that up so we can have a quick look at what you guys are looking at. Yeah, there's Robinhood, $91.
AMC.
FLD, Another runner there. We have that DSY as well here. Let's check out FLD. Their fold holdings now halted. So yeah, another good look here for FLD. 70 cents up to 180, back into a buck. Now looking to take out that 150. Its tap right now is 125. So a decent look there for FLD on the come up. And you know, because Robinhood's going, you could have a name. Weibo must be on the New York. No? Okay, why did I type in NQ and it didn't work? Okay, there it is. So let's have it. Yes, sir. There it comes back in, man. And here we go again. Nice move back into the downside for Apple. So everything we lost on IBIT, and this is part of it, man. Everything we lost on IBIT has now come right back into us now with Apple. So we'll be net zeros on the day as it's coming back in. You're not even still short, I don't think. So
I already told him the position board is wrong. I got out like 5 minutes, well, a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
VSME just halted downside. It's a volatility halt on VSME. That's at versus media. Silver's trying to break trend in here, so we waited for the next available trade. Topping tail, we'll give it to the high pretty much always, but that VSME nasty down halt, and the tap was already negative pretty big. 315, it's going 371 halt, with a $3.15 theoretical auction price. So that'd be somewhere into that support level. That is now correct, Andre. Yeah, so now position board. I guess it maybe just took a fill. I think that's all it was really waiting for. Not looking very good for VSME, but it's still potentially, just because it's tapping 320 doesn't mean it's gonna open down there. It could always, in 3 minutes or so, open holding VWAP, but it might be off the radar. I don't want to get involved in the down halts. I think yesterday, one of the down halts was probably the best chance to even short it. I forget which name. It halted like 5 times in a row downside. So I'll stay away from VSME, maybe find another one that we like.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, thankfully, we only have the 2 trades on today. It's been a little bit choppy to see some names going back and forth. I mean, especially these futures, right? I mean, we were looking at the I still wondering, I mean, we're still short Apple, which is good. That's a buck, but still wondering about what that next trade's gonna look like. And maybe it's the short here on the futures, the TQs, if we can break below. I'd like to see us break below this level right there, 72.50. So I think we're 72.60. We gotta get below this 25 period moving average. I mean, you know, that's something I've been looking at. So if that winds up happening, then so be it, and good for that trade. But that's what we need to have happen right now for the futures before I'm gonna step in and short it. We've already sort of got a little bit of a proxy on the futures trade with Apple being downside right now. And there, I mean, now Apple's really coming in. Let's see if we get back down. I mean, if we get back into here, then oh boy, we will be dancing in the streets with that one. But that's what's going on there. SMR, that FLD, as soon as these things start opening back up, we'll talk about it. SMR, nice move, still at that $10 mark. Rivian had themselves a day yesterday, down 7 or 8%. And here's that magical level again, 1550. So Rivian down another 1% here today as this name just keeps on getting hit. Downside Rivian. We'll wait to see where that winds up going. And we did talk a little bit about Tesla. Just trying to see if there's anything actually moving around besides some of these stopped out names like FLD halted again, DSY as well. So yeah, what is this one saying?
We've got Omen in the chat, $5 super chat there. Good morning. If everyone sells off to buy SpaceX and it flushes and semis keep selling, could it be a Black Monday scenario? I think Black Monday would be a little bit extreme, but if they rug SpaceX and everyone's sold for that, then yeah, I think you could see things extend a bit further. I think that's why like some safer like dividend things, if you can find them, are decent places to hide. I'm not saying it's going to rug, but yeah, this is a pretty big event, and there has been a lot of this going on, where people assume that money's coming out of some places to get retail to pile into this. And if memory serves, I think the last time a major IPO had over 15 to 20% retail allocation was Robinhood, and Robinhood was down on its first day. And I'm not talking about down from where it opened. Robinhood was down under the issue price on its first day. And I'm not saying SpaceX is Robinhood, it's just that the last time they allowed retail to get into one of these at a decent clip, you know, it ended up being a losing proposition on day one. I tend to think the first few minutes it'll still be good, but yeah, I'm not betting on it after that.
Here's a Chinese name that, and shout out to everybody there in the chat. Thank you so much for everybody that's been participating in the chat today. Here it is from Tech Lion. Tech Lion says CPOP is popping and is halted, and that's exactly what it is here. Here's Berankila as well, talking about CPOP there, round 2. So yeah, we've heard of this name before. There it goes, now halted at 87 cents, tapping 89 and change. So we want to say thank you to everybody there that's bringing this out one more time. And then Savannah wants us to check out MTEN right here.
That's the one from yesterday.
Yeah, check out what that one's doing. Apple's on the way back up. We've been doing some covering. Here's MTEN. This has been a popper as well over the last little. That DSY has not halted again, so it has found a base there at 7. So here we go again, maybe round 3 or 4 here for DSY, as Apple coming all the way back up here. So nice move in the market, nice move in Apple, not the market. Apple starting to pop through here, some levels again. So I'm gonna change my stop now to a little bit higher. Let's give it up into 291 now, just in case that winds up coming through for us on Apple. We did get stopped out of our IBIT, but you know, so far not so good on that stop out, as that's come right back in now. So, you know, it sucks when, you know, we get stopped out there and then, you know, we're now underneath everywhere where we shorted, but that's what trading's all about. You know, you gotta have your risk, and unfortunately, that's twice in a row we were stopped out with 1 penny to go. So there's a stop out there on IBIT, and right back to the upside is Apple as well. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer here to see about getting some more Apple shares shortable as it's making a move into, so 290.50 was gonna be that one first area. Hey, look, man, maybe Apple's due for a run now, back up to the upside. It's been hit. It just bounced pretty cleanly there off the 50-period moving average, so definitely something to think about. And now for Apple, potentially getting some strength back into this space now. So I'm gonna average in here, take a little bit there at 10s, get us to 289.80. So, you know, we're only 10 cents out of the money now on Apple with a nice little average in there on the 200-period moving average. Here it comes back to the downside. Let's see if Apple wants to get a little lower than where we are right now. And then everybody wants to always talk about Robinhood when it's going well, and it's going well today. So there's Robinhood up 8%. Nice little movement there for Hood as it's going long side today. Let's see if it breaks that 91 and holds it this next time. But 62 and change for IBIT, or for Bitcoin, still trying to go higher here.
Yeah, it's still holding up pretty well.
Yeah, it's not
on
it's not
Bitcoin.
the
The market's not doing a whole lot with these highs. Like yesterday, afternoon highs have been rejected a couple times, but you're still solidly in an upward trend. SLV is still in that bull flaggish, where like hold the afternoon high. Want to look for the VWAP exit point. I'm just gonna put all the bids out. If we like VWAP, then VWAP's not gonna move around that much. Like I want to get bulk out in this range here, which is, it showed you this top, so there's your support chop area between 59.1 and about 58.8. And then the volume weighted average price is at 58.5. VSME is going to open in 10 minutes, not 5. Obviously, at this point, it's been halted for 8 minutes. So some of these small cappers are going to be 10-minute halters because there's just that much volatility in them. So just be a little bit careful when you are trading them. SMCI was trying to hold this trend line. So it might not be exactly VWAP, but there's some lower highs going in. If it breaks out, I won't try it again. But if it loses the trend, holds this little downtrend, I'll pop back into it in and around the volume weighted average price. Just want to see more topping tail candles if we're able to get them. I believe it is almost 10 o'clock, and that means going to Adara for happening now.
Yes, indeed, Neil. It's time to talk about what's happening now, and what certainly I think a lot of what is happening now is influenced by what happened this morning with CPI. We'll get into that in a second here. S&P 500, 15-minute candle here, the second one of the day. A little bit indecisive. We'll take a look at the NASDAQ, looking pretty similar here. And USO, however, continuing to try to track to the upside. We know that there still is this conflict in the Middle East waging on, unfortunately. President Trump kind of appearing to threaten to escalate matters in some Truth Social posts and in an interview with Fox this morning. So here are the CPI prints. As you guys can tell, these are mostly in line with estimates. The one print that was cooler than expected was core CPI month for month for May. But regardless, on CPI year over year for May, you do have a 4% and above print. So that is pretty significant here. Let's take a look at some of these earnings on watch for both tonight and also what we had already today. ORCL is reporting after the bell tonight. We are expecting 20% year-over-year revenue growth. This is their final quarter of the year, so they were posting for Q4 2026. We also had CBRL, this massive move to the upside on this one for earnings, despite year-over-year declines for a lot of their major metrics. They did raise their guidance, though, for fiscal 26, which I guess was well received. You also have here CHWY. They reported earnings before the bell, initially looking good, giving back a lot of that early upside move, though, for Chewy. Do make sure to hit the like and subscribe if you enjoy the content as we send you back over to Sean and Neil.
Thank you very much, sir. Adair. Well, guess what, traders? We've got a little something for you, an offer your broker isn't giving you, and that's from June 8th to June 25th. Trade the Pool is giving first-time users an exclusive second chance opportunity. If this is your first time joining Trade the Pool and you don't pass the evaluation, Trade the Pool will give you another evaluation account completely free. That's right, a second chance to come back bigger and stronger and prove yourself. This is a one-time exclusive promotion available only during the Trading World Championship event, and once it's gone, it's gone. So scan the QR code on screen right now, join Trade the Pool today, and take advantage of the exclusive second chance offer before it disappears. Shout out to Trade the Pool. I want to thank them for being a sponsor and a friend of the show. We have Mitch on tomorrow.
Yeah, we did. We have, do we? Okay, good. Yeah, so shout out there. We have a super chat there. Short TQQ seems nice. I did talk a little bit about that. Joe and I will be the ones that will put on futures trades. And for me, I talked about that short at 73. It didn't, that's a level that I was looking at. We wrote down basically 72, 75 to 73 bucks. It didn't really hold, but yeah, it's at that level. I don't hate that trade, but at the same time, the futures are bouncing. It's the same type of thing. We're over VWAP, we're over, and now we're going higher right now. So I don't love that short. We've had some rebound days. The NASDAQ already turned green today. So if you're gonna short, I would just wait for the top and then maybe use yesterday's sort of level right there, 74.50 or so as your stop out. But I would give this a little bit more room, kind of like what we're trying to do there on Apple, giving it a little bit more room, but here it goes. And we just got a bunch of covers down there, and look what Apple did off VWAP as well, bounced through. So now we're getting, it's a good thing we've exited out of some, but here it comes upside right now again, Apple to the moon. We did get, and unfortunately I missed who it was, but we did get some, and I don't know if we can't show it, but someone gave 5 memberships there. If I can find your name, put it in the chat and I will shout you out. And we do have another one from Nicole right here, has been mentioning all morning, if we could put that up, shouting about DraftKings. Yeah, look, I actually did something on DraftKings not too long ago where I talked a little bit about where I thought DraftKings was going. And yeah, it's a nice little break long there. And we talked about getting into something that might be a beneficiary of AI. DraftKings there, setting better tables, getting odds. The Knicks, the series has been good for gambling, as well as every game's been close, back and forth. Prediction markets, yeah, World Cup coming through. So yeah, DraftKings, good shout out there, Nicole. You're right about that one, man. Up 7% today and right at the 200 period moving average. What a good name DraftKings has been. And we had mentioned this area and that breakout, and it looks like it happened yesterday. Nice move there on DKNG to the high side. Unfortunately, I did not, it was just too busy. This is the thing about hosting the show, man. Like we said, 291, we should have been more short upside there on Apple, and we missed that. So unfortunately, I keep saying how cold it is, Joe. Maybe you can go find the thermostat at some point, but we can get that fixed. But there goes Apple. Made a move back into 290 one more time there for AAPL. We'll watch out for that one as the market just kind of hovering around highs right now.
Yeah, it's putting in a bit of a bull flag there for sure. SLV caught a bid off that 59, so it got halfway, it's 59.5, but it just caught a little bit of a bid right after 59. So looking to reload what we got out up into the 30s and 40s, and then try to see if this one will get back down into the volume weighted average price. Your small capper VSME did not completely die. It held on to $3 or so, opened up. See that 315, it was actually not quite as bad on the reopen. It opened at 330, now heading back into the upside. And remember, if a stock goes into a volatility halt for all you small cap traders, if it doesn't open in 5 minutes, it's probably open in 10. If it doesn't open in 10, all bets are off. We did see several 30 to 40 minute halts yesterday. So don't completely freak out. If it says it's a volatility halt, then it's usually a volatility halt. If you see information requested, that's probably a good time to put the brown pants on if you happen to be long one of those. That's usually a death sentence. So yeah, just SLV for myself. Robinhood, for all the strength, is still, it's still bull flagging up here. I like it. It's just a matter of, can it really hold on to this 90 level to the upside? And the other one going, and we mentioned this like briefly, and I know in the chat, I specifically saw a couple of people mentioning that they liked SoFi, although I'm pretty sure I saw in the 15 range. SoFi only green. I know we said it was having a good day, but compared to Robinhood, this is very much a Robinhood kind of event. Maybe Webull would be something that would have a better sympathy play than SoFi. Yeah, see, there you go. Like, this is more like Robinhood's up big, Webull's up 9%. This is really about the trading aspect of it. So it's the trading side, it's the PDT rule, it's the IPOs. This is what it's all about going into SpaceX. And Adam James Abroad, DSY. By the way, thank you for the pizza, Adam. We appreciate you.
That's a good one.
It's really good pizza. That, first of all, the pineapple pizza, not so much, but DSY to $20. At this point, with these names, why not? You bet against them at your own peril. I don't see anyone trying to short these. They're going crazy. Probably the hedgies are having a fun time with them because I'm sure they know that this will be like short-lived on a lot of these names, but the momentum has been fantastic. It's 500% up 12. I think we had, what, a 1 point? Was this the 1 million float or was this something else?
Yeah, 1.25 million, I think it was, maybe.
It was these guys.
Yeah, we have, so FLD.
It's done 60 million.
Yeah, exactly. FLD is another one, 70 million shares here, as that's reopened again here now for FLD. So wait to see if this can hold now. This is not FSD, this is FLD. So it's gonna self-drive itself right through $1 here and try to hold out for that dollar move. So there it is coming into play. FLD, watch out, trying to hold out for that dollar spot. And then is another one entered the building here, NERD. Legato, maybe not, maybe this one is a little different here. It doesn't look like it's that major. What was TrueLeave? They were the ones going over into the NASDAQ today, or the NYSE.
It was in New York, I believe.
Yeah, so that's one there. And then AZEDI was one from yesterday there, AutoZ. Moving around again as well today, 15 million shares. Why did I just see somebody there? What's up to everybody there in the chat as I'm trying to talk to you guys in the chat here? Crackle Barrel, what's up, West y'all? What's up, West y'all? He wants us to look at CBRL, their earnings play, right? And he's saying, why is Crackle Barrel up 32%? Good call 32. Right there, West y'all. There it is right there. I mean, I know there was earnings there, but we had 8% written on our note.
I was going to say, it's actually poised apparently for its best session ever. And it's interesting because this was not on its face a good report. They did have year-over-year declines in revenue and comparable sales, but they also raised their guidance for revenue and adjusted EBITDA, so that could be what's happening here for fiscal 26.
I wonder if this is like another one of those things where it's like, you know, President Trump a while ago was hating on the new logo, then they changed it back, and it's just one of those names again where we've seen, you know, the president. I mean, I guess Palantir is a good example of one that didn't go up on president notes, but you know, here's one again, Crackle Barrel, with what Adara just mentioned there, earnings, strong surprise there to the upside now. And yeah, I'm surprised too there, Wes, of this kind of a movement as well. But make sure that you guys are in the chat, you're talking to us, we're reviewing it all. Shout out to everybody there on TikTok. We can see in the back there, all the super chats today, man, we have a column for that. We can see the super chats that are coming through, and we're gonna address those with you as we speak. As soon as we see something, we did have a super chat on Meta as well, and that's a nice upside play here today is what was written, but now it's coming back down into Flatsville. Again, here is Meta. The futures, I mean, now we're at that level here where if there was an interest in the short, you know, you now have an out where you can safely, I'm already short Apple, so it doesn't matter. I can go multiple names, long or short, but this is now you finally finding yourself a little bit of distance between where you'd be and the stop. I think that's pretty reasonable here. If it does take out the high, maybe give it a little bit up to 29,180 or something. See if it does try to run that and then a pull back in. So that's what the futures are doing off of a relatively calm CPI number. I mean, it came out as expected, 4.2 there, and now it's just what it is. And the market See, again, we'll talk about the futures. Do we put anything on? But there it is, man. As we go, wow, that would have been a good idea. to go short right there. We should have maybe put it on ourselves instead of talking about it. But there it is to the downside. You're already almost 1-to-1, if not more than that, against that top now with that move. That would have been a 29,160 short. You're now down. You're down 50 handles. The top is 30 handles, so it's 2-to-1, 2-to-1 right there on your futures trade. And we were able to take advantage of that move down as well and take some bids on Apple. So we just got out of some Apple there at 289.90 AAPL. If Randy's around, my coffee has turned from coffee to iced coffee. So
Well,
maybe we'll have to get another one.
I like the cold
maybe
brew.
a cold brew.
I'm a fan of the cold brew.
Yeah, the cold brew is very, very nice. I don't really know the difference between cold brew and iced coffee, but I'm sure there is one. Nice downside move here again for Apple. Let's see if we can continue to support that.
Yeah, I'm gonna quickly see if we have locates on Open Door. Oh, we do. Never mind. I was gonna see if we had to pay for locates on that bad boy. But look, realistically, I'm gonna try reload an SLV, but I'm gonna like a trend break at some point on Open Door. It's up 9% today. There's a lot of other names that are running that aren't like Chinese small cappers out there. Open Door is one of them.
Oh, boy.
AMC is kind of one of them. But I'm looking for Open Door to do something like AMC is already doing. See how it just broke the trend and headed back in? That's what I want to see happen on Open Door. I haven't found a single shred of news, and it's almost at the 50-period moving average. Look at the range. Adara?
What I think it was yesterday near the close, Eric Jackson apparently released an article, did some kind of, I believe it was an article saying that he believes that Open Door could be like a triple-digit stock. I saw that right before the close yesterday, but the stock didn't move on it. It could be a delayed reaction, but I haven't seen anything else.
That could make sense. I just like the level on the daily. Oh, so in the 15-minute. Like it pulls right into a prior low on a potential trend break, so you know, that's all I'm looking for. Like, it's got a pretty distinct, like now that you've done a pullback, you've got like a really, you know, kind of steep trend line, which can get broken on Open Door. So that's what I want to look at. We got Salvador. Look at DSY. Looks like you had a right idea with this name.
Yeah.
Why is it, go to Sean's chart.
Yeah, no, because I think Salvador, what's up, my guy? I mean, yeah, sometimes the spidey sense is there. We just talked about this $7 range. It was nothing. I tried to punch the long at 10, right? But that flushed, so I didn't do it. But there it is again, that second time through $10. Wow, make them sing, DSY, make them sing. Right now, up 800%. So yeah, boom, shagalaga laga, as we said. And it's good thing that our good friend Lewis did not locate. He was saying that he liked the short around $9 or $10, but could not find locate. So that's a warning shot for him.
They were 60 cents a share, I checked.
Yeah, maybe they're too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there it goes, man. Nice upside play there for DSY, needless to say. And I think you're right, Salvador. We did have that. That is for sure. But we will not be, and shout out again to Uonos there with your super chat. Unfortunately, we aren't going to be streaming the Oracle, but we do appreciate that super chat from you. You know, if Oracle, I don't know, we can find the time exactly that it's coming out there, Adara.
It's 4:05.
405. So, okay, maybe we'll see if we can hang around a little bit there until 405 and see what winds up happening with Oracle. But give us a minute to figure that one out if we're going to do that or not. But all right, there goes Apple. We talked about where those futures were going, and there goes Apple. Oh, okay. Apple does break upside, so we got to slap the fail there on that last little reload as the futures are upside, and so is Apple. Apple catching a little bit of a bid. Wow, we just got stopped out, but Apple was catching a bid there off of day 3 now, or day 2, sorry. No, day 3. Yeah, yesterday, it wasn't yesterday, it was Monday, right? So,
that's right.
Yeah, it is day 3 right now of WWDC event, so we'll have to catch that one later because there it is, we get stopped out. Well, maybe I don't know, man, that was right at 291. Don't want to necessarily get right back into it, but could have been maybe stopped out a little bit too early there. We got stopped out of our IBIT.
Oh, when they topping tail on you.
We got stopped out of our IBIT as well there, and now that's way lower than where we were. So a couple stop outs that haven't been great executions there, but hey, it ran the top, so we got out. What are we supposed to do? That's Apple right now. I'll try to get back in if it comes up to 291 again, but yeah, that's too bad because our average price was, I think it was 80s or something right there on this move, and there's the flush back in. So yeah, man, missed opportunity there for Apple to get that short. We did have it. We got stopped out right there against that high, and there it goes now right back in. Damn it, Apple. That's a day changer for me. We would be well up if we had just held that. There goes Apple all the way down. That's trading, and what are you going to do? Hopefully that doesn't happen to me on SpaceX. But we just stopped out $1 ago, and we had a pretty decent position.
I've already said on SpaceX, if I stop out and I'm not shut down, and I see it do a bottoming tail, I'm just punching back in.
There will be no chance I'm not shut down if that happens.
Well, I thought the same thing about, what's it called? Quantinium or Quantum, whatever the heck that thing was called. And then when I got stopped out, it was actually not a lot of slippage, and it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, but you almost took no shares on Quantum.
But that's my, even if it wouldn't have made a difference. Even
no, but if you took the same shares on that as SpaceX, you would have got smoked.
But if the stop is that tight, then I don't think I'll be shut down. We'll see. Again, we'll have to see. If it's that much liquidity,
I'm telling you, I will be. If it breaks the level, I'm shut down. Period.
But it depends on where it opens.
No, if it breaks the level it opens at, I'm going to be shut down.
I think if it loses less than 50 pennies, I'm not going to get shut down.
Okay.
If it loses dollars, yes.
It loses 50 pennies.
So one thing happened on silver. You'll see I got an open door.
Damn you, Apple.
I still had a quarter left. Like it held the 59 level. Still had a quarter left, moved the stop down to the lower high, and then it wicked. So I'm just going to try to jump back into the trade if we can. So we're just going to sit on the offer, try to get back in and give it back into the same 59.8, 59.4. Open door did also break trend. So there's this, just to give you like the why. There was the trend break here, and then when it actually broke.
Damn you, Apple.
This one, we jumped into this short. So you could have it, I could have it at this price and be stopped, but I got it when it actually put in the pullback, and we'll give it again to the high on open door. And maybe this was, maybe this was reaction or delayed reaction. That's something was said by Eric Jackson, and a great guest, and fantastic having him on the show. But this is simply just technical. You had a support level, it goes into said support level in the other direction, and it's a complete mean reversion that I'm looking for. We have not talked too much about, actually we haven't talked at all about a lot of Mag 7 names. We haven't talked at all about Tesla. The market might be going higher. Tesla at the low of the day, down 1.5%. Sorry, Tesla shareholders. I, of course, being one of them, but the exuberance in this stock seems to be waning going into the end of the week and SpaceX, unfortunately. So you're not gonna like what you see here. You don't wanna see something counter trend to the overall market. I would chalk this up, at least to a certain extent, to the rally being more like chip related than anything else, but it could also be a little bit of SpaceX as well. Maybe a sentiment thing. No real good explanation on Tesla, but it is one of the weaker names. Not really holding the market down, though, Adair.
Tesla, no.
Let's mention here, ServiceNow, NOW, seeing some reports from TechCrunch suggesting that the company has notified some customers of a potential breach of a software bug. So not a great look here for ServiceNow. Also hearing the IDF having sirens sound in northern Israel with warnings of a hostile aircraft. And the U.S. reportedly telling Al Jazeera that, quote, our forces attacked nearly 20 targets inside of Iran in the context of self-defense. And you know what? We're here. It's like 10:20. I'll just do the small caps while I'm here. Big push lower here for DSY, giving up some of that move. Another one of these Chinese ADR names with no catalyst that I'm aware of, a 1.25 million share float. VSME also on watch here, $9.53 million market cap and a 2.5 million share float. This last name here, not a small cap in the traditional sense. Neil mentioned it. I think it's worth noting here. Open Door, $4.5 billion market cap, 17% short float. This stock is currently trading around $4.65, and we know that Eric Jackson released an article late yesterday during yesterday's session suggesting that he has a high price target for this in the triple digits in the longer term. Back to you.
So frustrated because today we had we just talked about that top in the queues. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I'm just more upset about this Apple because we get stopped out there and then all of a sudden it tanks $1 and that was pretty much our whole day that we could have made. Well, we would have easily made IBIT. I mean, IBIT's already been made back, but this move right there to the downside, we'll take a hit, and here comes right back up. So, hey, man, you do you, Apple, as it's coming back up. I said I want to try one more time up here at 290. I'm sitting at 290.90. Hopefully I'll punch a little bit here, as if it just misses me for a decent amount of shares up there. So I think we'll try it one more time, sort of against that high. That's 291.20s, 291.22s or so. That sucks because we just missed, again, a bigger position there waiting at 291. So good thing we punched into a little bit, but here it comes right back down now. Okay, Apple, I see you. You just don't want to fill me at certain levels, I guess. But they're a nice move. We were waiting at 290.90. It went to 290.88 there. So if that comes back up, we'll take another short into Apple. But we did punch a little bit there because I was frustrated. I punched 83s there and got it. So we were, again, 2 pennies away from putting on a decent size. We still have a decent size, but more shares to that trade there as Apple goes up. Apple comes down. There's the fill again. So, yeah, man, not bad on the reload there for Apple as we just continue to look at very many of the same names. And just as we went back over to Adara, there it is again, DSY, the other way now halted. Now you have $11 tap. So there it is, DSY to the downside. That one's moving. And then that CPOP, people were talking about round 2. Shout out to you guys in the chat. I got to give a big shout out to everybody that's here right now. What's up to Tech Lion? He's on CPOP right now. You brought that to our attention earlier. What's up, Jesse? What's up to Joe here as well? Juan Padilla's in the building. Damn you, Apple, as that continues to go down. Nimit is here as well. What's up to Taylor back in, man? And it's just going as we continue to look out for some names here in the chat. We want to thank everybody for being a part of this. Yeah, what's up, Andrew? Glad that you're here as well. Gworev is here. Tony, UK official. Blicky Spears is here. We love Orange's Erie pages, so send some Florida love. No question. Send some Florida love down here with the oranges, my guy. Yeah, morning, Taylor, and everybody that's here. We want to thank you, and thank you for everybody that's on TikTok as well as we continue to go. Mr. Worldwide with Trader TV Live.
Get your vitamin C.
Right there, yeah, get your...
As in C-Pop.
Yep.
Or C-Love, otherwise known as Clover. You know what's good for the small cappers when this sucker's up 15%.
Yep.
As well. It was up yesterday too. This has been running, but it's been the healthcare. See, this is not, like, I know this is on the visualize as well, but this is moving as healthcare is also moving for Clover Health. So it's a little bit more than just, you know, small name, small cap running. This actually has some moves in the space, which I think is helping it out. Doesn't necessarily give it more juice. Percentage-wise, it's actually not going to move as much as some of the others. Open is catching a bit of a bid in front of VWAP, but I'm going to try to be out of 2/3 of this if it gets to VWAP, and if it fills in a little bit more of the gap, there's $4.50, which is yesterday's high. I just look over at AMC and like the pattern of like what this is doing, like break trend, pull back into the prior high, and I'm thinking the same thing over there on Open Door for sure. As far as the rest of the market goes, wow. I guess we really do like the CPR for now. CPI print for now. Like we're holding higher highs. No break of the afternoon resistance though. No break whatsoever yet on the Qs. And if you wonder why, Nvidia under VWAP, not looking very strong over there in Nvidia land. It's hard for us to go sometimes when the biggest...
The market just broke the highs.
Okay, well, I was about to tell you, Nvidia is barely breaking to the upside.
Yeah, I mean, the market's getting going right here. We're trying it here. We're just going to try light into the futures now as there we go, man. We are really starting to get going here into these. I don't know what's, again, nothing's really hitting the market. It's just the market's been upside here late, I guess. It was pretty much fading out all morning there, and then now okay, here we go. We're going to get stopped out as the market gets some momentum now back up there to the upside. And again, not trying to put on too much risk, but okay, well, there it goes. We tried to short there into the open market, into the with the futures, and blast higher. Look, we were down 1% and things were not looking good, and now all of a sudden shoots the moon. Right there goes the futures, and up goes Apple, up goes the futures. Everything now starting to take off. You know, names like I was gonna say Walmart's back to VWAP. It's actually down today, Walmart. But Apple, Netflix could be a good one. SMR was
I suspect that's down though.
Yep, it is down, yeah. SMR, $10, so that could be a good little level to look at. People blasting away with Meta as well. We do have oil coming out in just 5 minutes. That's the U.S. oil inventory crude number. That's gonna be coming out, so we'll have to wait to see if there is a move on USO into that right now. But, you know, Apple not moving with the market, so maybe there's something about that play as well, as we'll wait to get a little more short upside there for Apple. But yeah, right now the futures blasted higher there pretty pretty aggressively. So we'll wait to see if there is a little bit of a pullback now as we wait for oil. But, you know, a stop out there, I'm pretty happy with it. The futures are really moving around. Like, it's pretty aggressive now at the high end. So there it is, nice pullback, of course, but stopped out maybe at the highs again for TQs, but it's a nice move higher anyways in the market now today, going green as there comes, of course. So again, you know, falling back in, but you got to take stops where they are. Maybe hold for a little bit longer if you're looking for the short, because right now there's a lot of buy pressure in this market, but not in Meta. Meta's falling. I mean, there's a couple names.
Meta's falling. Nvidia wasn't all that strong. For those that asked about DSY, the tap is holding pretty steady at $11. $11.25 now, was $11.11 before. So it's indicating somewhere around the original highs from earlier on in the session. So if you look at that, it's going to be a 10-minute halt. So it should open. I mean, it should be open. It should be open right now. Okay, that's been 10 minutes and 10 seconds, 15 seconds. All right, hopefully they don't do this nonsense. There was a couple, there we go, it opened lower. There you go, it opened at about $11.50 for you there. I really don't like when they do the 20-minute, 30-minute, 40-minute halts for no reason. But this one's giving it up, unfortunately, for DSY. That's just how they do it. I'm gonna try for a little bit of a head and shoulders reload here on open doors. We'll see if I can't get some 70s just to reload this one. Head and shoulders meaning put in the shoulder, try to short that, and then back into the volume weighted average price. And I never got my silver re-entry. So I moved it down a little bit because it's still working. This is actually still working off of those highs on SLV. Like, I just got stopped out, but this high's still holding, so I'll take another shot at it. Kind of got wicked out when it held that trend and then just didn't get back in. So I'm gonna give this one another shot. We'll stick with open door. And maybe it is a chance for Nvidia to go. If Nvidia wasn't doing anything before, now above VWAP, starting to wake up a bit, trying to break out this trend, it's got room to the afternoon highs, which was at 209. So you got room to resistance. Close above 06, and this might be worth a shot here.
All right, yeah, we're watching out. I mean, we were back into the short here on the market just because it's been pretty violent. So just trying to watch out for that top break level. We were able to get short there and cover around 74, trying to, like I said, trying to give it a little bit more room and not necessarily just getting like so excited to short every single level at all times. But it's now 75 cents. Apple is the one that's working, and we do cover a little bit here on Apple. I'm gonna get another bid out right now just in case we do not continue this downside play. We're bouncing off VWAP right now on Apple. So let's take some more bids. Maybe it comes out right now on Apple and we're able to take advantage of that move lower on VWAP trade there. And I know I'm not really trolling. I'm not doing it on purpose, but you know, when I trade the TQs here, I know it's not the actual futures itself. We talk about that all the time. This is a triple levered product, obviously. But I put some shares, yes. Finally, nice move back in now is okay. Now we're starting to ring some Reggies on the high side right now. So down goes Fraser right now with these TQQs coming in nicely now on that move lower. Look, I mean, I was thinking the market may collapse there, and it's just, honestly, my whole day right now is this trade. Like, we could have just been monstrous there, but we get stopped out, and we have been crying over spilt milk, and we'll try to stop doing that because we're right back in the game now, baby, with a nice move lower on the TQs with the NASDAQ, and we are right back here right now. Thank you, Randy, for that one. Right back into 289 and change as the short now starting to pay off here. Thanks, Randy, with Apple. So Apple short, NASDAQ short, finally. I think it might be short-lived, but there's the move right back into that break spot high of 29,150 on the NASDAQ. So far, so good there. And then, yeah, man, just a DSY. I mean, it's been a mover. Halted again.
Up though.
So, yeah, so this time it opens up there around 11, 12 bucks. Looks like 12. Right away to 15, halting back upside, now giving you 1570, but moving around 1580 now on the tap. So now back to 1517 where it closed. So again, you got to give this one probably that 10-minute marker, and then we'll see what happens there. That last halt was 10:15 to 10:25. So we're looking for another 10 minutes. The gasoline inventories is now out. That was a...
Oil inventory just now.
I don't have it. It's a draw. That's all I'm hearing is a draw right now. So we'll wait on that one. Yeah, good
Not
cover
like
here.
in soccer, but
Gonna get, yeah, not like a soccer draw. There'll probably be lots of those this year. Here comes the TQ's downside as well. Take another bid out. There it is, minus 7 million. So I don't know, man, that's a decent number there. It looks like it was expected 2.9. So a little bit of a draw, that is for sure. That could rally the NASDAQ a little bit here, but
not moving much.
yeah, not much going on based on what I see here. We did cover some more Apple. That's about it for me.
Yeah, so USO means slightly moving. I won't say it's not moving. Slightly higher on USO, not really doing a heck of a lot. SMCI is back underneath the volume weighted average price, so no, I did say either gap fill or VWAP. So no gap fill, there's VWAP, we're back underneath it, so I'm gonna try to take another shot, or another stab at this bad boy as it's continuing to head down. If you're not familiar with the story, they're doing a raise, $7 billion on SMCI, which is like 30% of the company's market cap. That's the reason why they're down so much. I got to reload on Open Door. Still looking for that VWAP. Get out of 2/3, hold the rest for a push down into 450 is the name of the game, as they are kind of riding the wave on a lot of these, I don't know, like small cap gappers. And then Eric Jackson with some positive comments about it. Obviously he would, because he's a big holder in there. But just again, looking for the volume weighted average price, and then we look for that 450 into said downside. So finally, we're getting one of these reversions that follows through, although silver did. For being real, like silver again just continues to head lower. I got that bad wick, but that is what it is. Keep trying to short the next available pop, and we'll keep going with that until at least this gets to 58.60. So Open Door coming back in. We're warming up as the NASDAQ is cooling off.
Oh boy, yeah, we're heating up there. We almost got it. We were covering for about $1. That went down to 73.50 there on the TQs, man. I mean, you got to hit, yo, what's up? Good afternoon from IE, which is IE. I'm not sure, but good afternoon to you as well. We'll take that 1 cent there from TikTok. Thank you again for all of that. There, Joey O. Yeah, what's up, Joey? Hopefully he's doing well over there on DSY. We can go find out right now.
It's at the tap is $19.90. So that $20 could easily. Oh, never mind. Now it's back to 15. The tap's all over the place. The tap was just at $19.90. Now the tap is all the way at $15. So.
Yeah, and yeah, Joe doing well over there. Joe up the most right now today. So congratulations to Joe. They're trading. He did. Oh, he gave some back, but still, Joe right now, you know, I don't care. I'm going to shout him out. The #1 trader on the desk today, Joe. So shout out to that right now. 700% up is DSY, but yeah, he did give some back, so that's fine. And actually, you know, it's just one of those things there today where if you're trading some of these names, you want to make sure that you're trying to get out, trying to get in, but DSY again, halted now 1488, 1475, looking like it actually wants to go lower right there so far. So far so good there if you're short on DSY, but this is going to open up in 5 minutes, I guess. The halt was, the halt was 30s. Was it? Yeah, so 29. So yeah, 5 minutes. So we got about 5 minutes or so until this name opens back up. We liked Alibaba long yesterday at 120. We got out of that one. Alibaba bleeding today again, man. Down another 2.36%. That just showed up on my watch list here because we had broke through VWAP. So now 117 coming back in for Alibaba. And wow, what a wild ride, man. Those futures are all the way back up again. Absolutely crazy that what's been happening here in the market today. So yeah, just up and down, bouncing cleanly right there off that 50 period. So we took some good fills, man, when it was down here. We had gotten hit on the futures on TQQs, and it looks like right now it's running the top one more time. So see you later, man. That's short. Bye-bye. The short just not working today as we go higher and higher there. We'll still stay red on the NASDAQ here as the TQs runs the top one more time, and that's why we talk about making sure to get out when certain levels hit, because that was just almost $1 we were talking about it, and then it ran the top again. So yeah, man, trading, I've always told you, man, it's not for the weak of heart, and it is probably one of the hardest things you'll do in your life is to try to figure out how to trade. You know, the success rate is very minimal as a trader, but that's why you got to develop it, make your plans, and get going. Like right there, we just get stopped out, and here's the move down. So not only is it hard to do, it can be frustrating, but you know, stick with it. And as we talk about, you know, use whatever shares you're comfortable with, and you know, trade according to your plan and not somebody else's. So right there, that's what's happening right now with the TQs. Nice little pullback downside again off a top make, but looks like we're going higher. Maybe look at Nvidia. I don't know what's going on. I haven't looked at many makes.
Nvidia was trying to go. By the way, that DSY is now open,
yeah,
but
Nvidia's at the top.
There's a dance at the Halt price that's happening. So the Halt was at about 15 bucks. It was just dancing back and forth at that 15 over and over and over again. I know a lot of people are looking for 20 bucks on that one. Jonas, thank you for the super chat. Can you guys also stream Oracle earnings, please? I don't know what time they are, but I'm pretty sure for Oracle, like if
We already had this super chat.
Yeah,
it was 4:05.
it was 4:05. So, you know, sometimes basically like we'll stick for like a couple of minutes, and if it comes out on time, then we might just show this is what happened. That kind of a notion. And now $18 for DSY.
Still going.
And still the champion. You know what? I didn't really look. Oh, that's right. This is the reverse split one. So you have to look at it on each signal. The levels aren't going to matter too much when it comes to this overall. You know what? I think a lot of the whole this is a bag hold level, I think that stuff matters more when you don't have like this type of squeeze event happening 3-4 times a day. You know, they're just a little bit, they're built, these ones are built differently as opposed to like your regular days, the small cap runners. Don't put anything past these names, and don't assume bag hold levels will even choke up a little bit. Like to me, open doesn't count. Like it's not, like this isn't one of these Chinese, you know, small, super crazy float that's gonna just go 100%. Like it's not doing that. So I think it can follow some of the standard rules, whereas looking at the other ones, forget about it. I think you just get yourself into some trouble if you try to do it. Yes, SMCI is at the low of the day. I'll slap the fail on it. I did like VWAP. I haven't got picked back up under VWAP, but it's right back into the low, still down 15 points as it's flush sitting. 15%. It's almost at the 50-period moving average, which would be 33.5. You get another $1 down, I'd probably look for some kind of an SSR bounce on SMCI, but that's still $1 away there, unfortunately for them. Just a rough, like I said, if people are going to complain about Alphabet raising money, then what happens when SMCI does it, right?
Oh boy. Yeah, so that's 3 times today now. There's the stop out, there's the tank. We were playing it against the high of the day. I guess the only way for me to combat all of this is to just get short at the high of the day, basically, and hold it for 20 pennies after that. You know, not just always wait for that level, but we're working on that to get a little bit better. But I mean, we'll be a frown, but we could turn that frown upside down because here goes Apple. Apple's now $1.50 in the money and starting to go lower. So lower, lower, lower right now for Apple. And just into that area one more time. I'm not trying to take outs in here. We're trying to hold, see if we get Apple back into this 288.50 mark. We did see some strength yesterday at 288. We talked about that level. So we'll see if it comes back in right now. I mean, I will put a bid at 289 just because. And then we're going to go right down into 288.50 and put one more and see if we're able to capture that kind of a trade as well. All right, we do have a Halt scanner here, right? So anything that shows up, there goes Apple, wow.
Oh my God.
Downside there for Apple. Now 170 in the money now on Apple, so okay, that's going well. Palantir CEO Alex Karp speaking right now, and that's starting to go back up to the upside right now. As there goes PLTR, nice move higher here for that name, and you know, we can have a look at where potentially to get long. I mean, if this drops into 131, that's VWAP time, and we've seen support there as well. So on a potential drop down for Palantir, yeah, buddy, that could be worth something there if that winds up hitting for you guys down to 131 on Palantir. So yeah, and then thanks again for you in the chat right there. We did talk about this a little bit because we got notice from our good friend Joe when he was talking about upgrades and downgrades. And there it is right there, it's Oscar. So Oscar is having themselves a week, and I think I'm gonna log into the old portfolio here and cash some out on OSCR. It's definitely a one bagger. I mean, we're up 100% on this name. We're long around $13, $14, up to $28 there for Oscar. So, you know, you got to have some of these in your account as well. Nice play there for Oscar. And yesterday we bought, which wasn't really that great. We bought some IREN at 51 again yesterday. It did have a move lower into today. It opened actually at 51, move up to 56. I like IREN, I like Oscar, and I do not like the TQQs because that stop out sucked. But over to Adara, it's 1040 already.
Just be aware here as well, there is currently a Senate hearing happening for the confirmation of Brett Matsumoto, who is the new nominee to lead the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That is the bureau that's in charge of the release of CPI and PPI. Very likely not going to be massive, but you guys know me, I'm watching this hearing regardless. And if there is anything market related, I'll let you know. I've already seen a couple comments come through on my blotter. Let's talk in the meantime, though, about this sector board, which is actually kind of mixed. We usually, as of late, have seen a lot of sectors that are really strong, a lot that are really weak. In this case, lots of things just kind of all over the place here. You've got weakness right off the top in consumer durables, transportation, health services. Producer manufacturing is kind of split. You've got GEV down 3%. This following a really weak session yesterday on a negative analyst note. CAT also to the downside, but AMAT and LRCX, the AI adjacent plays here, are strongly to the upside. Health tech mixed. Eli Lilly and J&J strong. The rest of the sector pretty weak. Retail trade mostly flat, though. Amazon leading this to the downside here, down 1.5%. Communications strong, industrial services mostly strong, finance pretty strong here, tech services mostly flat. Oracle going from down in the pre-market to up today ahead of its earnings report after the bell. And of course, electronic tech. This is, I think, really emblematic of that mixed look that we've had across all these sectors. SanDisk, Intel, both green. Same with KLAC and Dell up nearly 4%. Then you've got Nvidia and Broadcom, especially to the downside. Same with Qualcomm. So chip plays, for the most part, pulling back, but there are some other tech names of note today. Back to you.
Definitely, and thank you, Adara. Definitely some tech names in play. An entire group of tech in play today, and that would be software. The IGV, temporary bottom, not the 50 period, but 90 bucks here on the IGV. That's off heavily off the 108 level. But if this can round off the bottom and maybe break something out, yeah, it's still in a downtrend. I get it. It's not there yet. It needs to bust 95, needs to bust 97. But it's starting to look at least a little bit better for sure. But 15 minutes to go, then we're going to throw you guys back into the midday where I know a lot of small cappers will get talked about. But hey, if they are going to be the belle of the ball, then got to be able to cover DSY. It's given something back up 700%, but there's still this battle with the halt, the last halt up at about $15. It's done a topping tail candle of $2.5. It's done a bottoming tail candle of $2.5 on DSY. So this is probably one of those shakeout type of moments where it's just going to try to shake one side out. And I guess usually you look for a bit of a reaction. This is why I prefer these. Like Open Door is just it's a little bit more calm. I have one bid that hasn't filled at VWAP, and then I'll be 2/3 out. I might do one more reload, but if it holds VWAP, I don't even know if I should like the reload if it holds VWAP again. Not really a bit of a fan. Taylor bought some DSY, they just said, underneath 14. Yeah, so like you're looking for the shakeout of the longs, and then hopefully it heads to the upside. That's the tricky thing with these. It's one thing to be long this little break at the open, or the break of the high. But in here, if you can get it right when it's at this kind of a shakeout level, a little bit easier to hold till the highs. Because trying to get these entry points are always really tricky. Because a lot of times you'll get the slippage, like you just can't get the fill. Like VSME, for what it's worth. Like this morning, it did do a breakout here from about 4 to like 520. But if your customary is on a $4 stock on a break to try to get like 03 or 04, because you think you're gonna get a couple of cents worth of slippage, well, you're not crossing far enough. And then you miss the print and it goes $1. So you have to open everything up. You can't treat this like a normal $4 stock, and you can't treat DSY like a normal $15 or $16 stock. You have to get out of that mode.
Yeah, it's been a rough little one there for some of those small cap names if you've been the wrong way, but they've been pretty nice. That's for sure the other way around. Tesla Good call on this one. What's up, Daniel? If you guys want to short, why not short Tesla? I mean, there's DSY. Looks like it's trying to break lower as well. But here's Tesla right now. Yeah, it's been hot garbage. Someone else in the chat was like, oh, Tesla's been hot garbage today. Yeah, you're right, man. Down to 387 right now as that's getting cleaned. I almost want to send this one to Joe as well. He knows what this is like. There's another stop out, $1 higher on the TQs as that's now making new lows. But we are now $2 in the money. What's up, Ozan? On Apple, and we'll take a fill. Hey, remember that level we mentioned, 288.50? That was a good idea. As that came right back in now. Wow, that Qs is killing me right now as we go lower and lower and lower right now on that spot. So there it goes, man. Yeah, Tesla is a good one, Blicky Spears there. It is always chanting, short me, short me, short me. So there it is right there. Shout out to Blicky. Get his Blicky ready to go. $73 right now. Nice move lower. That really sucks. Again, that's another day maker. I've had 2 stop outs today that were epic stop outs for me. Right there, and then again on the Qs right there. So that's like back-to-back stop outs that were day makers and real liquidity for me and just stop out. Obviously, I can only talk for myself, but I'm gonna be red today on the market, and that is what it is, and nothing I can do about it with those stop outs. We tried. Wishing that Apple could make it back, but we don't have the same amount of shares there that we did have, obviously, right there. We're looking to get a little shorter on Apple, maybe in and around 290. So you guys let me know in the chat there if you guys are up or down, red or green on the day, or flat-ish, whatever. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're doing. I'm down today what I was up yesterday, so something very similar. If you're gonna call that an up or flat day, that is what it is. And there's JP Morgan going back into the banks. We talked about what Robinhood's been doing there in the chat as well. And yeah, man, that's what I was saying. It's at 91, and that could have been a decent short there, but yeah, right now underneath VWAP, moving lower right now goes Robinhood. So yeah, man, there's everybody in the chat. Red, red, green, green, red, red, green. Yeah, so it looks like it's a little bit of a mix up there. Red for Elated Trader, green for Delonte West, green for M Stone. What's going on, M Stone? Don't get too many goals there for the Vegas Knights. Green, green, good job, Taylor Batty. Purple,
really hate the Vegas
that's
Knights.
Good. Green, red, 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 green, 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 green. So good, it looks like a pretty mixed board there. I'm happy for you guys out there. It makes a lot of sense in today's market, especially with this whole back and forth talk and when we wait for SpaceX to come in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I think this is one of those days where it's so easy, if you were mean reverting or shorting anything, to have those nasty wicks. I just feel like that was the case, because the difference for me today is SLV. Like it is what it is. Like I'll be 2 for 4, but the problem is one of the ones that's up is this one. So therefore, it's just not going to be able to. Usually, it'll make it back. If this gets to VWAP and open gets to VWAP, then great. You're able to make up the loss on IBIT. That's just how it works. But I do have that stop out, and sometimes it'll be like that. But you just have to remember, in this game, all that really matters is, can you be consistent over time, right? So I said this yesterday, you cannot throw out the strategy just because that happens to you. No, you were right. And there's just a small little thing with the execution, and silver's gonna head to the downside. It'll suck, but it is what it is, and you just move on. Because at the end of the day, trading is gonna give you opportunities today, tomorrow, left, right, and center, if you're a small cap trader, if you're a large cap trader, and even if you just bounce around from strategies and just go to whatever is gonna be hot. I think that can be something as well. OSK just said they're now bullish on BMNR. I think it gets really interesting if you're catching a temporary bid in crypto, in Bitcoin, to look at things like BMNR and MSTR. Because if we are really, and I'm not completely convinced, holding 60,000 to be at 62 is nice. Hey, my thing is, oh yeah, my key where I did the highlight, where the circle that comes up when you hit the key in it.
Yep.
I guess that turned off somehow, which I didn't turn it off. I'll have to figure out how to turn that back on, because I wanted to show like the 62. No, but I think if we are catching that temporary bottom, then you're gonna get a better move to the upside out of maybe a BMNR. That doesn't have it since it moved over, or even MSTR. But again, I'm not completely convinced that you're at that point. Why? Because we're made a little bit of a rally. You're up 0.8 here on MSTR. If you're looking at like where IBIT is, Like it barely broke this afternoon high and really didn't do much of anything with it. So I can't be at the point where I get bullish yet. It hasn't broken through a big resistance level at any point yet on Bitcoin or on ETH or on MSTR or on BMNR. So I don't know that this has changed my mind, whether it lost today, but I still kind of like it as a short. Let's go to Adara, it's 1050.
Here's the US dollar. It's poised to be red here for the third straight session in a row. We're going to dive more into CPI and the implications of that in a second. But I do want to let you guys know, I've mentioned this a couple times already today because I do think it's important. PPI tomorrow. So PPI month over month here, 0.7% is the forecast versus 1.4% prior. Core PPI month over month, 0.5% forecast. Prior print here was 1%. So both core and non-core month over month PPI we're expecting to be halved versus last month's print. Now, year over year, things get interesting. Year over year PPI, 6.4%. Yes, that's a 6 handle here, is the forecast versus 6% prior. Core PPI year over year, 5.4% versus 5.2% expected. So we're expecting very hot PPI year over year, but cooler than prior here, a cool down for that PPI month over month. So it's going to be an interesting look. We'll have to wait and see how that all sorts out. We did a pretty ho-hum CPI reading. Now, of course, this 4 handle on the CPI year over year, never something you want to see, but it was in line with estimates. Core CPI year over year, also in line with estimates, but higher or hotter here than the prior print. Core CPI month over month, cooler here than we were expecting, 0.2% versus 0.3% expected. Non-core CPI month over month, exactly in line with estimates. As always, it's time to turn the conversation back over to rates. Right now, 96% of participants expecting at this meeting that is now 1 week away. In June, we will have the Feds hold rates at that 3.5 to 3.75 area. Now, if you look at probabilities, Sean mentioned we're gradually creeping up here, the chances of us getting a rate hike earlier this year than previously expected. What we've really seen over the past couple of weeks is, somewhere between December 26 and March 27, we're likely to get a rate hike. That December 26 is holding on more and more firmly. So it'll be interesting to see if we do get a situation where we start seeing people expect a hike in October or even September. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Adara. But Adara, please prepare for the most important segment you've given today. We have what's for lunch. She's ready? Then let's go for it. Let's go figure out what is for lunch. And of course, I have Thursdays and Fridays, but Adara has it today. So, all right, Adara, let's start with the flag.
Okay, so what they say the flag is not what the flag actually is. So I'll start with that. The flag is the Israeli flag. They describe the flag as Jewish. So I'm just going to go off the bat
Jewish
with that.
flag, okay.
Yeah, Israeli flag. But slow roasted garlic and herb chicken leg is our main course. Our starch is going to be a rosemary potato wedge, or plural wedges, so more than one wedge. Sides are going to get roasted seasonal vegetables. Seems very apropos
All
with
the
those
time we get those.
rosemary potato wedges. And the salad, again, this is the Israeli lunch, is a Greek village salad. So
Israelis, there could be some Israelis living in Greece.
interesting.
We don't
look
get the
here
Greek salad with Greek.
for this lunch today as we send you back to the guys.
So I'm guessing that it's supposed to be a Greek flag?
Yeah, that
maybe?
sounds
Because we had
more
the
like a Greek.
roasted, the rosemary, the chicken. Yeah, so okay, a little bit of a flag mix-up happening there. That's what's for lunch.
It's
Should be
Italy
okay.
this weekend here.
Is it Taste of Italy?
Yeah, it's well, also there's something. There's a small event starting on Friday as well that some people may have heard of, which might be a big deal in the city and a lot of other cities as well.
Yeah, something about the World Championship.
They kick
of
a
Trading.
ball around. Well, there's that as well.
The ball kicking thing. Yeah, footy.
Footy, yes.
They're coming
A little
through.
footy.
The real football coming in
Is it
this
though?
weekend. Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, apparently.
Much more popular than the
Oh,
NFL,
100%.
of course.
I'm not gonna.
Okay, man. Sharif is in the building, so we're getting ready to rock and roll with him back at 11 o'clock. We do have another halt, of course, with DSY. So if you're going to look at that, now up to $10 on the tap there. It was a little lower, but that's not a great sign, as there's DSY. It's actually been pretty controlled. There's one halt there, another halt, and then another one now. So obviously, what I mean by controlled is not the fact that it's in the money or anything like that right now, but it's been halted, opened up not too dramatically both times. So this one halts at 1177, and the time there, it's been 5 minutes, right? So we're getting ready to open back up in just 1 minute now on DSY, and it's looking like $10, that magical level. And that's right where VWAP is. So let's get a take on DSY and see what winds up happening in less than 1 minute from now. Damn you, man, that market still got me. IBIT, it's just so hilarious because every single thing, like the Apple short, Apple's fine. We're flat on Apple. You know, today we got stopped out right there. We're actually, you know, position pending on what's going to happen with this, but, you know, relatively light now on Apple. So we're not going to really make too much of a difference there. But that short, one stop out's going to make the whole day there. And then the futures, man, like short, like every short we had is underneath it. And then IBIT, same kind of ways, man. That IBIT there at 35, no good, but up here was fine. But that's what trading is going to be like. So 3 names for me, as we had mentioned on the desk here. We'll be negative today, but hopefully you guys are not as we go ahead and talk more and more about what's been happening. We do have Kevin O'Leary scheduled to come on tomorrow at 10:30. So join us tomorrow, and we'll talk to Kevin about what he's hearing about SpaceX, what he thinks. Geez, man, damn, futures. Ugh. I'm still gonna try to go long down here near 72 bucks just to see if there is gonna be a bounce back. But man, oh man, that short, talk about a whole day. Like we could have put this whole office on our back with that trade, but unfortunately it is a downside play. And we get stopped out and turn red on that, but oh well, what are you gonna do, man? Maybe that's why the air conditioning was on, froze me out of that trade, but only 4 minutes to go now. Yeah, O'Leary tomorrow at 10:30. Love him or hate him, he's coming on.
We'll talk probably some AI, let's be real, data centers.
That's it, yeah, crypto, AI,
crypto.
SpaceX.
SpaceX, though, is just a different beast. It's completely unavoidable. Let's be real. It's the biggest event, and it's certainly having an effect on the market. As a lot of things are starting to roll over. Oh, the nasty candle on AMAT just now. We don't usually talk about applied materials, but that just had a nasty turn. AMD's losing a bid as we speak. Nvidia was trying to get going. Remember when Nvidia was looking like it was breaking that trend? Nope. Right back into the lows and continuing to head lower. I'm just still in only open door. It's almost at that prior high. So I got the next bid actually should be at 56, not 55. So just hop on the bid there, see if we can get that fill. But I just in this one, and we'll hang on to that until it gets to hopefully 440. Like the next bid after VWAP was going to be this low, and then we go out in front of that support, and then we go out in front of that support. Just try to keep it as simple as possible. But yeah, the market really starting to bleed back in. Unfortunately, we're not holding on to gains in this market. SMCI, by the way, just broke the lows. So the worst stock percentage-wise, well, probably the worst stock percentage-wise is the day that is some kind of small capper. Now 17% down on SMCI, and
there's some really news. There has to be some kind of news.
Well, there's a very small spike in USO, but there's real acceleration in the market, and you cannot blame this on oil. Oil's at the high, but it's barely moving. It's barely moving at all here on USO. So I don't think you can chalk this up to some kind of an oil move.
No, I think there's something about USMCI or something. Did I see someone in the chat say that, or did I say that? But yeah, there it is, downside. This is just so crazy because now we're...
You're getting comments from Macklem about USMCA, but I'm also seeing apparently Pete Hegseth is speaking right now. If there is anything of note, that would probably be more of interest here, saying, quote, there will be big news coming on Venezuela very soon involving designated organizations. Venezuela. I don't know what I can and can't say on screen. Also, just be aware here to IAEA, so this is an energy nuclear-related board, passing an Iran nuclear resolution with 21 votes in favor. It does not specify what this resolution is. If I get more details, I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah, so right here, it looks like we just took a little bit, like, this came back up to 72, so we had to get something out there. I mean, I don't want to be part of this if this is going to be a trade talk now. I mean, we already have Iran sort of overhanging what this market is right now. We have, you know, we talked about oil a little bit there today, and now we have more talk about the USMCA. So we do not need talk about that agreement hitting the market, especially in a negative way, because then all of a sudden you get Canada, you get Mexico, and you get a whole bunch of more trade beef coming through. And we don't want any smoke on that one because the market right now is very, very, very prone to a move lower. I mean, there's so much negativity out there, and then plus we have the big raise coming for SpaceX and all that. So yeah, okay, here we go. A little bit nervous hands. As this market starts to come back up, we'll take a little bit of advantage of this move now to the high side. But yeah, so far so good here, trying to buy that dip, but not really, as we're just flat now on this trade, looking to see if we get a little bit of a push higher so we can get some more out, as there's a nice battle back, thankfully, on this market. So yeah, good move here. Maybe that USMCI thing is a little fugazi. Well, hopefully it is, and the market can bounce back as we take the long off the 200 period. And I'm just trying to flash this out, man. I mean, we got in the money there, got pretty lucky, so we're just gonna take some out in and around this 72 area. We're long at 72, so I think we might have made a mistake trying to play some news there, but it is a nice downside play. Too bad we still don't have that short, but you know, we're back into the long now as we flipped up our minds there on a pretty dramatic move lower here on the TQQs.
Yeah, pretty dramatic, and again, it seemed like a minor headline to me, but and an overreaction, because you're not seeing oil move around too much. You're really not seeing some of the big names do anything too crazy. Like Apple's still hanging around that VWAP. It is 11 o'clock. We're going to throw you guys over to the midday.
There it goes.
DSY, by the way, I know it's going to get talked about over to our left. It's going to open up just as we're throwing over. It should open in about 30 seconds. If you're watching DSY, it is in a 10-minute halt. Okay. There's been more of those. Pay attention. If you're trading small cappers, a lot of the halts are just going to be 10 minutes because there's more volatility. That's why they do 5 or 10.
Right.
So don't freak out if it doesn't open up in 5 minutes. It's been happening like half the time. We're going to throw you to the professor. Oh, he's at the desk.
Good.
We get the professor at the desk in Joey Options. Go get him. All right. Was he at the desk?